Calgary, Alberta, home of the Calgary Stampeders. Also home to quarterback Doug Flutie for 4 seasons. Some of the memories are fond ones, like in 1992, his first year with the Stamps. Flutie did exactly what was expected of him and has a ring to show for it. Some memories, though, are not so great. The 93 Western Final was so cold, Flutie couldn't stay in the game. The Stamps lost that one. And in the 94 West Final, Flutie scored the game-winning touchdown. Darren, that is. Brother Doug was 1 TD short. Even upon his return to McMahon last season, the Argos couldn't pull out a win. Doug Flutie will create new memories of Calgary. Will they be good? Tonight's final score will tell. McMahon Stadium in Calgary, it's the Toronto Argonauts, the Calgary Stampeders on CFL Live. As usual, we are live and interactive here at TSN, so if you like, you can play QB1 with us throughout this football game. Hi, and welcome again to CFL Live. I'm Rod Smith, along, of course, with Bob Ovilovich, Les Brown, and Marty York of the Globe and Mail, getting set for the opening kickoff between the Calgary Stampeders and the Toronto Argonauts. It is Doug Flutie's second return to McMahon since he left the Stampeders to join the Argonauts. Let's head out to McMahon Stadium now and join John Wells and Glenn Suter, guys.
Well, Ron, after a tough start, things are finally coming together for the Calgary Stampeders, and quarterback Jeff Garcia is fresh from his best week of the season.
Yeah, he had a great game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and I think what Jeff Garcia is doing really well of late is he's making good decisions on the football field. Since the Montreal game, he hasn't thrown an interception, and he didn't have one last week versus Winnipeg.
And he's really getting along with this guy, number 88.
Well, Vince Danielson and Jeff Garcia are on the same page, finally. Vince Danielson was hurt early, but he's back, and he's on the same page with his quarterback, and they're really clicking.
Well, it's something where Jeff and I, we're good friends off the field, roommates, and things like that. So it's something where we, if it's something we can have on the field, it's great. And I think that you're going to see that build as the season goes along. And as he goes to me more and more and gains more confidence in me, and that's something that's going to build and will be great to see. I think Sponge and Flutie had it a lot when they were here. So that's something we'll build on, and we know we can do. I have a lot of confidence in Jeff, just like the rest of the receivers.
Stampeders are feeling very confident after putting 40 points up on the board last week. Don't forget, though, that was against Winnipeg, and tonight they take on the best defense in the CFL.
Well, it really is arguably the best defense so far this year in the Canadian Football League. They lead in 18 of 25 defensive categories, and probably the most important of the numbers you see up there are fewest points allowed. They're giving up just 18.5 a game, and this really is the defense that finished last season with the exception of Eric Johnson replacing Oscar Giles.
There, we've done it an entire opening without mentioning Doug Flutie, but in fact he is here and looking forward to his first victory as an Argonaut at McMahon Stadium. Should be a good one, Rod.
Okay, thank you, John and Glenn. And yes, Flutie's name has been mentioned a few times. His first return against Jeff Garcia a year ago in October, and it was that long losing skid for the Argos of McMahon continuing when they lost to Calgary 30-23. But Obi, you talk about the quarterbacks. All over the field, there's some great matchups in this football game.
There really is in this game because, as I mentioned earlier, the statistics show that Calgary's a much better team than their record. In special teams in particular, like we've got the 2 best punters in the league right now. Martino is leading in net punting, and Vanderjagt's leading in gross punting. So, and then those great return guys for both teams. So there's going to be some big plays in that area tonight. I look forward to that. And you have an emotional team tonight lining up against a confident, cocky team. Which one's going to prevail?
And Coach, you know what? I think you have to watch out for two players in this game. One, Robert Drummond. Everybody knows this guy's been having some amazing games of late. And the other guy they're going to have to watch out for is Alondra Johnson. I think these are going to be two key players for both of their teams.
Certainly, and a key player for us, as usual, Marty York. Now, 2 weeks ago, you went 0-3, and we were all over you. So let's give credit where it's due. You climbed back to 500, going 3-0 in your picks last week.
Oh, so... did I? I hadn't noticed.
Oh, sure. What were you telling us about before we went on the air? Anyway,
I told you to make sure you mentioned it.
Now's your chance to go over 500 again tonight, and who do you like?
Well, Rod, the opening spread in this game had the Argos favored by 5 points, but Las Vegas has dropped it to about 4 in the past 24 hours, and that suggests to me that there's been a lot of action on Calgary. See, and I don't understand why. Yeah, the Stamps were impressive last week, but that was against Winnipeg, the worst team in the CFL. Tonight, they have to face the class of the CFL. The Argos have the best defense, they have the best offense, and they're just beginning to gel, and Doug Flutie is just getting healthy. So, take the Argos, lay the points, and I think this could be a mismatch, folks.
And me and Marty agree. Can you believe that?
That's
Less than Marty agree. Let me just mark that down. First time this season. Yeah, Calgary has to stop Doug Flutie, of course, their old quarterback, but they also have to stop this guy, Robert Drummond, back-to-back Offensive Player of the Week in the CFL. He'll get it started. Everybody will. It's coming up right after this.
The Argos and the Stampeders split the 1996 season series with a home victory each, so Doug Flutie has never won in double blue at McMahon Stadium. He's got a perfect night for it. 26 Celsius with a crossfield breeze at 15 clicks.
Don Matthews is just 4 wins away from being the all-time winningest coach in Canadian Football League history. He's been the Coach of the Year 3 times, and the last 3 years has gone to the Grey Cup game.
Wally Buono, 95 wins and counting. Early season victories just weren't coming, but now he's won 2 of his last 3. Stampeders and the Argonauts for the first time in 1997. And as mentioned, a perfect night for it. Argos looking for their 4th straight victory. They've been on a roll. Kelvin Anderson, along with Dwayne Ford. A different pairing ready for this kickoff return. Mike Vanderjack has been having an outstanding season, Suits.
Yeah, he certainly has, and he's really matured as a kicker, come back and done a good job for Don Matthews. You know, John, feel the atmosphere in the air in this football game. You just get the feeling that this one is so crucial to both teams. It's something they haven't felt all year yet.
Now they change the pairing back there for the kickoff return as Coleman drops back with Kelvin Anderson. And this is Anderson up to the 35.
With a 25-yard kickoff return to start things off for the Cowboys.
65-yard kickoff, 26-yard return to set up Jeff Garcia. 9 touchdowns so far this season, 4 interceptions. And as Glenn was talking earlier, he hasn't thrown one in a while. Danielson is coming on as a receiver, but Moore and Vaughn are the outside guys. To run the ball will be Anderson, and up front, Crysdale is the center of the offensive line. The starting lineup for Calgary brought to you by Midas. From the 36, play action fake, Garcia. To the near side, he has Danielson, his favorite target of late, and he's very close to a first down.
We talked about it in the opening, how Vince Danielson, John, is starting to get on the same page with his quarterback. And let me explain that quickly, what that means. Vince Danielson on different plays will have the option to either go in or to break to the outside like he does there. And you can see how his eyes were downfield. He read the coverage and broke out. And what's been happening of late for these two is that Garcia is seeing him, seeing what he's seeing on defense, and delivering the football.
And even 10 yards, giving Calgary a 1st and 10 now at the 46. Calvin Anderson for close to 3.
Well, that fun for the Toronto defense. Demetrius Maxey, Andrew Stewart has a couple of sacks, and Rob Waldrop. One change is Eric Johnson in the lineup for Oscar Giles in the linebacking core. In the secondary, Don Smith is back for his 2nd game coming off the broken arm. Marcelo Simmons is on the corner, Adrian Smith the other, and Lester Smith is the safety.
And no weaknesses there anywhere. 2nd down. and 8. After Anderson's gain of 2, Garcia may take off. Eluded the first wave, and he'll have another Calgary first down out across midfield. Met there by Adrian Smith. Nice move by the Calgary quarterback.
It's good composure by Garcia as well. I mean, this is Jeff Garcia in the last 3 games that really is making good decisions. Now, early in the season, he may have tried to force this ball downfield, but he doesn't, takes his time and finds first down on his own. What the big play for Calgary is he doesn't force it, get a bad interception.
Nice opening drive, rolling for the Stampeders, just inside Argonaut territory. Anderson broke 1, and he's close to a 7-yard gain. Lester Smith this time.
Tony Marciano, the offensive coordinator for the Calgary Stampeders, told me that it's going to be very important tonight for Calgary to have success on first down. As you see, Kelvin Anderson's numbers this year. Had a big game last week versus Winnipeg. They need to have him have another big game tonight, especially on first down, so that Garcia can get into some second and short situations.
Anderson well on his way to another 1,000-yard season. This is 2nd and 4. Garcia puts it up. He's on target. This will be a Calgary first down. Bailey inside the 40-yard line. Stopped by Ken Benson.
Fred Bailey, John, replaces Joseph Rogers on the roster. Now, Joseph Rogers has a bit of a thigh injury, and he could have played had this been a playoff game, but Wally Bono felt that with a healthy Fred Bailey, why not rest Joseph Rogers, so Bailey gets to start tonight.
Bailey, 85, flanks wide to the near side in a 5-receiver set for the Stampeders. Garcia shotgun on first down, steps up, and it's open again. Needs 1 block to grab a first down. Comes up a little short. Oh, good hit down there on the quarterback in the open field by Donald Smith. Gain is actually 5. Hello.
Hello, what's the hit at the end of this play? Garcia took a big hit against Winnipeg. In fact, he was a little dizzy and made some mistakes calling plays for a while. Watch the hit by Donald Smith. When that hit pops back, as you're going to see, Garcia's right there. That's a solid hit. He hits the ground hard as well.
It is a 5-yard gain. 2nd and 5. Stampeders as the drive continues until that very moment. Anderson ran into one of his own blockers. And it's field goal time for Calgary.
Great strength up front for the defensive front 3 from Toronto. Rob Waldrop and Demetrius Maxey are going to plug up the hole on Chris Burns. And as you can see, Kelvin Anderson has absolutely nowhere to run. That's just strength on strength. And that time, Rob Waldrop won the battle.
Mark McLaughlin has been red hot of late. He has made 11 of his last 12 field goals. And he's usually an 80% kicker, moving up after a slow start. He's closing in on 70%. This try from 42. There are flags down. The field goal is good.
Well, Calgary goes with the old snap down. I'll explain that quickly. What happens is the holder, Tony Martino, will call quickly, or excuse me, Dickinson will call quickly a cadence. The front line snaps down into a 3-point stance.
Okay, we're ready. I'm betting offside. What do you think?
Well, Garcia was making his way on the field, so I'm thinking the same thing. Now they're discussing it again because
offside. Toronto declined.
3 points, Calgary. We wasted a little time waiting for that. Stampeders' first drive ends in a 42-yard Mark McLaughlin field goal. Wally Buono has already made one decision here in this football game. He had an opportunity to gamble on 3rd and 1 by taking that penalty.
That's right. He takes the offside there, moves the ball up 5 yards. It's 3rd and 1. Now, he can gamble maybe and try and get the first down, but Wally Buono felt with the good drive that his offense just put together, never take points off the board, so he rewards them with the 3 points and go with the kickoff team.
Nice strong field goal from 42 yards out. Another confidence builder for McLaughlin. Talked about these two teams 1 year ago. Calgary won here. Toronto won at Skydome. Close one at Skydome. And a touchdown. The margin of victory for Calgary in October at McMahon Stadium.
What I found interesting about those two games last year is that in those games, Calgary's Alan Pitts and Dave Sapunjas combined for almost 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. They're, of course, not in the lineup today.
There's the kickoff, and here's the pinball. Markers down, and pinball surrounded at the 25. Darryl Hall leading the Calgary tacklers, and number 44, Tyrone Biggs, is never far away on special teams. Looks like it's going against Toronto. That's the initial indication. 3-0 Calgary on a 42-yard McLaughlin field goal.
Illegal block. Toronto 26.
A blocking infraction against the Argonauts. Amazing stats for Doug Flutie one more time in his 8th CFL season. 1,700 yards, the touchdown ratio. Still double his interceptions. The pass we talked about, a little shuttle ahead to the pinball. The Stampeders were listening to you. How to defense it, right? Not quite the shovel pass. He flipped it to pinball.
Yeah, a little play action there.
Loss of a yard. We will see the shovel. Clemens and Drummond, an outstanding tandem in the backfield when they're back there, but more often they're out as receivers. Masadi and Demtrishan are the outside guys. Williams, Versaville, Kiselak, Payne, and Giaskis, the offensive line. Although Giaskis is hurting a little bit, he might see some relief here today. Far side. Hall was there, covering quickly on the pinball. So big plays back-to-back for the Stampeder defense.
And the beauty of having a guy like Darryl Hall to be able to run down and tackle Mike Clements, because that was an open field tackle by number 4 for the Calgary Stampeders, and that's tough. Been in that situation with number 31 bouncing around there in space, but watch how Darryl Hall just gives him nowhere to go.
Argos did pick up 7 yards, but they needed a bunch, and now face 3rd and 5. Vanderjack gets a weak one away, but a decent bounce. Terry Vaughn to return to the 47 and met head-on by Adrian Smith. Good field position once more for the Calgary Stampeders. Actually, not a bad punt after it stopped. It traveled 52 yards.
The CFL Live on TSN is brought to you by Advantage, providing solutions for business. And by Gatorade. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
Live from McMahon, the CFL Live on TSN. John Wells along with Glenn Sutter. Thanks for joining us tonight. Stampeders scored in their opening drive on a 42-yard Mark McLaughlin field goal.
Well, the Stampeder offense really did have the big game last week, and it was about time for Wally Buono. You think about Jeff Garcia struggling early in the year, and he's finally starting to click with his new receivers, and there has been a bunch of changes that he's had to deal with.
Garcia, 282 yards and a couple of touchdowns a week ago. Time to throw for Garcia. Can't find a receiver. He takes off again. He's been running all night, and he's right over the bench. A roughing penalty is coming up as Garcia was decked. Michael O'Shea on the tackle. And Garcia in a great deal of pain after picking up a 4-yard gain.
Well, I will be very surprised if Michael O'Shea does not leave this football game. I mean, how close was he to the sideline?
Well, there's quite a discussion going on down there as to what the penalty is going to be. Flags down right on the sideline. And Michael O'Shea was the player who came in contact with the Calgary quarterback.
Rough play disqualification. Toronto 50.
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah. I'm not surprised, John. Now, I know Michael O'Shea's personality a little bit, and I know there was no malice in his decision to push Jeff Garcia, but these referees and officials have to protect the quarterback. And Jeff Garcia was right on the sideline. We're going to get another great look at it. As you see Michael O'Shea going to the sideline now. He sees the sideline and gives the quarterback a huge shove about a step out of bounds, and Garcia goes hard into the bench. When you got to protect the quarterbacks, something like this happens, it makes a statement when you throw the player out who does it, and that's exactly what the officials have done.
You hear Don Matthews down there? That was Matthews saying, play hard, play clean. I know that voice anyway.
Well, this could turn into a war because the offensive line for Calgary was all over that defense, and I won't be surprised if we don't see some fists flying before it's over here.
The backup quarterback is in. Garcia has a ball cap on the sidelines. Dave Dickinson. He hasn't been very active as a member of the Calgary Stampeders. Calgary with a first down near the 35. Dickinson has Anderson sliding out of the backfield. And Anderson stopped well short of a first down. Well, 50 yards passing. And that's it. Not too much.
Well,
on the Dave Dickinson story. Statistically, anyway. Sorry, Suits.
He may be able to add to it a little bit, at least in the next two plays, because Jeff Garcia has to be on the sideline for at least 3 when he gets medical attention like he did on the last play.
2nd and 7. Stampeders at the Argonaut 36. Calgary already in scoring position again. This will help.
Dickinson's on target. Number 83, Travis Moore over the middle. It's a gain of about 6 yards on 2nd and 10.
Garcia seems to be okay warming up on the sidelines.
Well, I think he got the wind knocked out of him. When we saw him down on the sideline lying down, he was trying to catch his breath again. He got hit right in the midsection when he hit the benches on his sideline. So he's got his wind back. Now he just wants to make sure everything else is okay. His arm, his hands, throw a few balls, and I'm sure he'll be back in this football game in the next series.
Mark McLaughlin having a perfect night. And a nice little run here. This from a little closer range, spotted near the 37. And McLaughlin is 2 for 2. They do wait a while before telling us it's a field goal these days, don't they?
Well, that
They're
one
trying to do it in tandem.
Yeah, that one kind of hung up in the air, so they both looked at each other about 4 times. And
who's going first?
Then they get their hands up, but
Garcia looks like he wants to get right back into this ball game. Here's what happened moments ago.
Yeah, here's the hit that he took. Michael O'Shea gives him the shove right in the middle of the back when he was right on the sideline. And the benches here in Calgary only about 3 yards away. There's the push. Wow. He goes into those benches hard, and he had to catch his wind, but he looks like he'll be fine and back in for the next series for Calgary.
Don Matthews lost his middle linebacker, Michael O'Shea, following the hit. A game disqualification for O'Shea. And the breeze was gentle when we began, but it's picked up and shifted a little bit.
That's why
going into the faces of the Calgary Stampeders.
Sorry, John, that's why that Mark McLaughlin kick hung up there for so long, and wind has picked up a little bit.
Michael Clemens ready for the kickoff. It's 6-0 Calgary on 2 McLaughlin field goals. And look at this kickoff hang up. Clemens takes it on the dead run. He's already at the 40-yard line, spinning across to the 42. And finally, a couple of Argos end up sitting on their teammate. Aldi Henry leading the Calgary tacklers. There is a marker down. Clemens has a 15-yard return, so Flutie has some field position to work with this time.
Yeah, last series he started out way back because of penalty, and we'll see what happens here to see if they lose any field position on this series. Some pushing and shoving going on after the fact.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Calgary number 3.
That's Chris Lewis.
Yeah. Everyone who wants to take that extra shot after they saw their quarterback hit it's right on the right. He gets yanked down there. First by, I believe it was Brendan Rogers. Then gets up and shoves someone, and the refs always get the retaliation.
What's the first thing you have to do as Calgary's defense against this Argo offense?
Stop the shuttle pass from Robert Drummond, or shovel, or shuffle, or
whatever you want to call it. That's not one of them. Mazzotti makes the catch, and a good one to hang on. Kenton Leonard, pretty good hit on Mazzotti. And markers again.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Calgary 92.
Steve Anderson gets nailed again. Retaliation penalties. We talked about it after Garcia hit that bench, and there was words from both teams on the benches, and you know, every one of these guys out here now, including Steve Anderson, is going to try and get that extra shot in. Right now, it's costing his team, and Wally Guano will have a few words with him on the sideline.
Penalty marked off, and with a 13-yard gain, the Argonauts are set up first down at the Stampeder 25. Flutie to his right. He has the pinball, and Mike Clemens got up and added extra yards after making the catch. Alondra Johnson was there for the pin.
Well, defensively for the Calgary Stampeders, Steve Anderson gets the start up front. He's joined by Marvin Pope and Dwayne Patterson, who leads the league in sacks with 7. And in the secondary, John Kalin, after just a week of practice, of course, was in the trade that saw Ray Bernard head to Montreal. Will start at safety for Roger Rhinson. Hampton and Coleman will be on the corner.
Pinball picked up 9 and a bit, so it's second down and really less than a yard to go, Toronto. Robert Drummond easily has the first down. Some kind of week last week for Drummond. 4 touchdowns in the opening half against Montreal.
When you look at what Robert Drummond will accomplish if he stays on the current pace that he's experiencing right now, he's going to be over 1,000 yards. You take a look at his numbers, 11 touchdowns, which leads the league. Unbelievable there. But if you take a look at his numbers and project them over the season, we're talking about over 1,000 yards rushing and over 1,000 yards in receiving.
Either way, he's got over 300 yards passing and rushing. Flutie, the touchdown toss. Mazzotti's got it. Second catch of the drive for Mazzotti as he beats Marvin Coleman, and the Argos strike quickly.
Oh, what a great play by Doug Flutie and the Toronto Argonauts, because they had that Calgary defense completely fooled. Paul Mazzotti sneaks out and goes right down the middle of the field, and Eddie Davis, number 29, right there, comes across with him. Now, when he goes into the middle, there's Mazzotti sitting wide open, and Coleman had no chance on the play because down the sideline was Doug Flutie, and Mike Clemens, and he had him caught between a rock and a hard place.
Argos have the lead by a point after a very successful drive. Mazzotti, the man of the moment in Argo blue. He has the touchdown and one other catch on that Argo drive. Nice drive for the Argonauts. Flutie and Mazzotti in sync for a 14-yard strike. And the Argonauts have the lead for the first time by a point, 7-6.
See that scoring drive? It was also aided by a couple of Calgary penalties that were undisciplined penalties.
Anderson across the 35 and stopped there by Donald Smith. Nice little return of 25 yards after the kickoff.
5-yard kickoff. Number 19, Donald Smith brings it down.
Jeff Garcia, one tough customer. He's back already.
Talking about Jeff Garcia, and a lot of people have criticized Garcia over his play. When you look at his numbers and project them over the season, he's going to be close to 5,000 yards passing and almost 30 touchdowns. So I wouldn't think that would be a bad year.
Having a perfect night tonight. 2 for 2. Now 2 for 3. What happened there?
Wow, it looked like it slipped out of his hand.
It bounced off somebody down there. It's a laugher.
You know, sometimes quarterback may change his mind in mid-action, throwing action. See, he sees the receiver downfield, and then he kind of changes his mind and just thinks, well, I want to let it go. Slips out of his hands, and
Chris Burns took it to the back. Yeah. All right, it's 2nd and 10. Stampeders down by a point. Garcia's shotgun. Time, man open. He fired high for Terry Vaughn. Marcelo Simmons was covering, and Vaughn needed a ladder.
Yeah, just a bad throw by Jeff Garcia, a little high. And Terry Vaughn, who had a great game against Winnipeg, not only receiving, but also away from the ball in blocking. He had some great hits against Winnipeg linebackers. He couldn't go up the ladder and bring that one down for his quarterback, but he really had a great game last week and has played better these past couple of weeks.
Here's Tony Martino into a stiffening breeze at McMahon Stadium. The pinball awaits near the 32. This'll hang. Here's Mike. Pinball Clemens. Roger Reinson leading the tacklers there, and Paul Mazzotti heads back onto the field, a couple of catches, and a 14-yard touchdown reception.
Well, sometimes you will beat your man as a receiver, and that's how you come up with the big touchdown. But this time it was scheme. You see Marvin Coleman, he gets caught in between Pinball, see him running out there, and Mazzotti, and he picked wrong.
Somebody was
the wrong
open.
choice.
Somebody was going to be open.
Either way,
Pinball,
way, that's a touchdown for the Argos, and it was all scheme.
Great numbers for Flutie. He's perfect. 5 for 5, 42 yards. And the touchdown you just saw. On first down, Flutie's first miss. Darryl Hall covering on Darryl Mitchell.
Darryl Hall there, you see matched up on a slot back. Darryl Mitchell, who can fly. That's the confidence they have in Darryl Hall. You know, Doug Flutie will look at that matchup again, but Darryl Hall can run with slot backs. He's up 1-0 on Darryl Mitchell so far tonight.
He really defined that spot, didn't he? Hall, as a linebacker, started as a defensive back. 2nd and 10. Flutie with time. Mazzotti. Markers are down. Mazzotti made the catch. And that's enough for the first down if it's not against the Argos. Coleman covering. Hot start for Mazzotti. 14 yards.
It's a flag downfield. I saw Andre Kerwan go down hard just as the ball was in the air, so it may have been illegal contact.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver, Calgary number 30, declined.
Kenton Leonard gets called on the interference. It doesn't matter because of the play by Mazzotti, so they'll decline it and take the yards. He's the one who hit Andre Kerwan.
Another big penalty against the Stampeders. It's 3 big ones. Setting Toronto up 1st and 10 at the 51. Here's the pinball. Makes it happen right after the catch as well. Kenton Leonard was there, and so was Darryl Hall.
Well, speaking with some of the Calgary defensive coaches, you know, they were talking about one of the most important things they wanted a game plan for was Mike Pinball and Robert Drummond in the backfield and the shovel pass formation that Flutie's had so much success with this year. But we haven't seen it yet from the Argos in this game.
I was so excited about that. I called the first one the shovel pass. Yeah, I was waiting.
So was I. I mean, we diagrammed it in the pregame shows to see how close the Argos are here on the measurement, but diagrammed it in the pregame show. They've had a lot of success with it, but obviously, you know, Don Matthews knows that everyone else knows that they're having success, so he'll change things up, throw a few wrinkles in, and maybe we won't see it until the second half, or maybe not at all this game.
I think we're going to see it tonight. Don't you?
It's hard to imagine not.
Flutie 7 of 8 for 65 yards. Looking at second down and a yard to go here near the Calgary 40. Flutie man open far side. That's the first down to the pinball. He escapes. What a nice play, and Pinball steps out in front of Leonard. This guy is so much fun to watch.
Oh, he's great once he catches the ball, and he'll make you miss. Interesting formation off the start for Flutie. No one in the backfield, 3 receivers each side of the formation, and of course Pinball, who does a nice job of just sort of hanging back on the zone, breaks that tackle right there by William Hampton and gets up the field.
Argonauts inside the 30 at the 29. Another Toronto first down. They're making this one up as they go. Flutie stands in and fires. Almost. Drummond, the intended receiver. Alondra Johnson back in coverage.
This is what Doug Flutie's talking about on the play. As he sees the formation break and sees how Calgary's going to adjust their linebackers, he wants to change things. You don't see 51 in your picture because he's out there lined up on Robert Drummond. That's the matchup that Doug Flutie wants to go to. Robert Drummond, who has played wide receiver for the Argos, against Alondra Johnson, who's a middle linebacker. And back from his first game with that hamstring problem. They're testing it.
2nd and 10. Here's the heat. Flutie got it away. What a catch. Paul Mazzotti. John Kalin, starting at safety for Calgary for the first time, was covering. Mazzotti has 4 now.
Paul Mazzotti sees what Doug Flutie does, and it's a halfback blitz from Kenton Leonard. Right here at the top of your screen is number 30. He comes in and provides some pressure. Mazzotti sees it, but what a catch to go back behind his back and grab it. You're going to see Big Dan Payne coming out and picking up the blitz and pancaking Daryl Hall to the wide side.
3rd down and inches. Mazzotti's 4th catch, and Flutie has the first down. No question about who the favorite target is so far. 51 yards for Mazzotti. Another Argonaut first down.
Well, we got to talk about it a little bit. Now, I said earlier in the season that Mazzotti and Doug Flutie were arguing. You talked to him in your interview, and I'll get back to it after this play, but it's obviously they've made up.
I was right with you there. I thought they were arguing on the sideline 3 games ago, too. Pinball hangs on. Low catch. He brought it up. He's into the end zone. Mike Pinball Clemens. Looked like he was stopped at least twice.
Oh,
I slowed down right with him, but he gets to the end zone. And that was all Pinball for a 17-yard touchdown. Love this guy.
Well, you know, Wally Buono looks on as his defense is in pretty good position to make the stop for what would have probably been about a 3-yard gain on Pinball, but then comes the human factor, and that's where Wally can't control it. He can put the defense in a position, he can just ask them where to go, and then after that, he's got to hope that they can come up and tackle him. And in fairness to the Calgary defense, a lot of people have missed Pinball in his career.
The Argonauts have back-to-back touchdowns and a 14-6 lead after Calgary opened with back-to-back field goals. Here's the Pinball in action. First, a great catch.
Yeah, first of all, he had to come back to catch the ball, and when he does, I think it set up his first move. Because as he comes back to secure the catch, he takes about 4 steps, and Daryl Hall goes inside and gets beat there. Now watch this move right inside on Hampton and splits Hampton and John Kalin. Unbelievable move by Pinball. This one, first of all, to freeze Daryl Hall right there. He stumbles and goes down, and then Pinball splits Kalin and goes into the end zone over Eddie Davis.
That's the second time Pinball got by Willie Hampton on the same drive.
You cannot drop your head when 31 has the football, because he will make you miss if you don't keep your eyes on him the whole time. He's gone.
So all of a sudden, he is the favorite target with 54 yards compared to 51 for Mazzotti.
Now they're talking, they seem a lot more civil these days after a few catches. Now they told me that there was no argument there, so okay, I believe them and apologize for saying there was.
Nice return going for Fred Bailey. Out across the 25 and out at the 29-yard line. A nifty scoring drive for the Argonauts. Toronto on top by 8 points now. 8 plays, 55 yards, and Clemens made it happen with a 17-yard touchdown.
Really is some nice wrinkles from Doug Flutie, and he's very much involved in the preparation during the week of what kind of game plan he wants to see to face each team each week, and he has really put some wrinkles into this offense, along with John Jenkins, the offensive coordinator, and Don Matthews.
Things going very much according to plan for Don Matthews. If you're joining us late, there's but one little fly in the ointment. Middle linebacker Michael O'Shea tossed from the game after a late hit out of bounds on Calgary quarterback Jeff Garcia. Closing in on the best who've ever played the game. Safe to say that Doug Flutie will move up a notch or two before this season is over.
What's amazing about that stat, too, is that Doug Flutie is in his 8th season. Of course, Ron Lancaster played how many? 19?
I think 23, didn't he?
28? So, I don't know. But he played a ton.
Coleman for Calgary. Good return. Still going. He'll break this one. Not quite grabbed by the kicker. Vanderjack came from nowhere to make the tackle. After Coleman made it through all the rough stuff, he's dragged down by a kicker. 65-yard return.
Well, not only is this amazing play by Marvin Coleman, John, in breaking tackles and finding a way to stay in bounds, but it's also very timely for the Calgary Stampeders because it seemed that Toronto had all the momentum, and Marvin Coleman tiptoes down the sidelines and basically runs over 3 Toronto tacklers, and finally Vanderjack pushes him out. But
Chris Lewis, had he turned and put the block on the kicker Vanderjack,
that'll swing the momentum back to the Calgary Stampeders, at least temporarily.
Stampeders going into the breeze with only 11 seconds left in this quarter. So they'll have the wind at their backs likely after this play. Anderson, nowhere to run. Demetrius Maxey wrapped him up, 91, with help from Reggie Gibbons.
There is no game.
Maxey started in the expansion years, played in Montreal.
Well, he has 1 sack this season,
well,
John, but Demetrius Maxey leads the team in tackles for losses.
It's a nice number to have.
Yeah, number 91's in the opposing team's backfield quite a bit.
This will be the last play of the opening quarter. Garcia puts it up. Travis Moore made the catch. The opening quarter, lots of points on the board. We'll send you back now to CFL Live Control.
CFL Live at the Quarter is brought to you by Midas for new, longer-lasting carbon metallic brake pads.
And welcome back to our CFL Live Control Studio. Rod Smith along with Obi, Les, and Marty. And the Argo offense, led by Doug Flutie, of course, gentlemen, slicing its way along and doing a good job. But defensively, they have to get along now without linebacker Mike O'Shea in a play that really fired up the Stampeders, Marty.
Well, and let me tell you something, Rod. I don't criticize the officials very often, certainly not as much as Les Brown here.
Sure.
But because I happen to think officials are quite necessary and very underappreciated, just like sports writers.
So do I.
But let me just tell you something. They blew that call on O'Shea. We have it right here. It's unbelievable. Look, Garcia is inbound when O'Shea hits him. He's inbound, and there's no reason to call the penalty, let alone eject him. And I just think that they looked at Garcia laying on the ground and decided, hey, let's throw him out of the game.
Or they weren't going to get out of Calgary alive. But I thought when the flag went up, it was going to be on the Calgary bench for being too close to the field.
You know, another thing about that play, and Calgary's got to watch it. We talked about it at the beginning of the game about they're going to be an emotional team, but they've got to be able to control their emotions so it doesn't hurt them. Coach Buono's been very upset with their lack of discipline all season, and They got fired up on that play, but it can't work in a negative way. They've got to keep their emotions in a positive way.
You want to know who I really think got fired up over this play was the Toronto team, especially their defense. You know, and they got Brendan Rodgers coming in, who is a backup Canadian player for the middle linebacking spot, and is doing a pretty good job. They're not running the ball on him, which you thought they would do once Michael Shea left the game, but they're not.
Well, one other game going on in the CFL tonight. In Edmonton, a 69-yard touchdown pass from Kevin McDougall to Milt Stegall. It is the Blue Bombers leading the Eskimos 11-3 in the second quarter. Back to McMahon now.
Back live at McMahon Stadium as Pat Clayton attends to Terry Vaughn on the Stampeder sideline, stretching him out a little bit.
That's keeping the hamstrings and calves stretched out because it's kind of humid here tonight. And that's where you get cramps.
First play of the second quarter, and a timely one for Mark McLaughlin, who gets to kick his field goal with the win. He's 3 for 3. Stampeders have scored field goals. The Argonauts have the touchdowns. And it's 14-9 Toronto.
Discussion there between Dave Dickinson, the holder, and Mark McLaughlin, the field goal kicker.
Jeff Garcia ready to come right back into the ball game. He missed one series, but was back after a hit in the opening quarter. We'll look at this from a couple of angles.
Garcia just took off to the sideline and got pushed right on the stripe, went heavily into the bench. And Michael O'Shea is gone.
Mike Saunders, his first carry of the ball game. First time he's touched the ball, and wrapped up by Dwayne Patterson.
Well, Dwayne Patterson, the lineman of the week in the CFL, had a great game and has had a real good season. I mentioned earlier that he leads the league in sacks with 7. He has been the one consistent performer from game 1 to now for the Calgary Stampeders up front.
Stampeders have had to make some adjustments along that defensive line due to injury. Second down. Flutie swings it out of the backfield. For Drummond, is that a loose ball? Kenton Leonard thought so. And it is. Calgary ball.
Whoa!
How close was that?
Yeah, that's close.
That happened to Flutie. It cost him a touchdown earlier in the season when he looked for pinball in what was called a lateral at that time. And that's what they have to be calling this.
If the ball is thrown behind the line of scrimmage, in other words, backwards to Robert Drummond, as you can see, bellied back a little bit, and I think it's a good call by the official. He's right behind that 30-yard line stripe, which is basically where Doug Flutie was standing. You see Flutie standing right there in front of the 30. Robert Drummond is behind that 30-yard line. That's a lateral.
Good eyes. The right call. Garcia, play action fake. Now to his right. He won't get it away, or he barely got it away. Looking for Danielson. Demetrius Maxey was in his face. Numbers from the opening quarter. Argonauts with 109 net yards compared to 58 for the Stampeders. Time of possession, very close. We talked about Calgary's field goals and Toronto's touchdown.
That's 33 yards passing. This is against the Argo defense, and number 1 against the pass.
2nd and 10, Calgary. Set up at the Argonaut 35. Garcia looked for a target. He's got Vaughn. Vaughn escapes. Chance to score. He does. What a touchdown. Right over top of Lester Smith. Great catches and touchdowns tonight.
Oh, boy. Cue the fireworks. Terry Vaughn.
Fourth touchdown of the season for this guy, Terry Vaughn. It was a beauty. Hang on, we'll show it to you in a minute.
Hey, Tristan, how you doing, baby?
He's not phased.
Stampeders have a 2-point lead. Great opening half thus far, and there's lots more to go. How about this for a TD? 35 yards. Terry Vaughn up, and over into the end zone.
He jumped out of the gym.
Still smiling on the sidelines, Terry Vaughn after a brilliant 35-yard touchdown.
At least he could do is sweat a little bit.
First catch of the ball game. He's 1 for 1 and a 35-yard touchdown. This guy's been great tonight, too. On returns for Toronto, Mike Clemens waiting back at his goal line as McLaughlin kicks off with the win for the first time. Mike Clemens. Nice move. Here he goes. McLaughlin will try and slow him down. He does. And they catch him from behind. Roger Rhymson finally tracks him down.
Are we watching some athletes tonight, John? I mean,
yeah, it's tough to figure out what we should show, but let's start with the touchdown here.
Well, you saw the great pinball touchdown making 3 guys miss. Then you see Garcia with the scramble, and then Terry Vaughn. The play at the end of this is unbelievable. Do I go left, do I go right, or do I just go right over? Look at this. Lester Smith has no chance. He has to break down, and Terry Vaughn goes up and over. And when you do something like that athletically, the rest of your teammates get pumped up, and look at everybody in on the celebration.
Meantime, pinball turns it on for the Argonauts and sets Toronto up with a first down at the Stampeder 49. Great field position for Flutie again. To his right, now he looks deep, and a man open, and there should be flags down all over the field on that one. Andre Kerwan, the intended receiver, and Will Hampton is not having a good night. I don't know if he had anything else he could do here.
First of all, John, there was a bust in coverage with the Calgary Stampeders, and Andre Kerwan had snuck in behind the coverage and was open by about 15 yards.
Deliberate forward pass interference. Calgary number 2.
I think he has to be number 21, Will Hampton.
It was definitely William Hampton on the play, but when he turned around and realized the busted coverage, he just starts chasing and has no idea when the ball's going to arrive. Flutie sees Kerwan wide open. Right just before that play, William Hampton deliberately runs into Kerwan.
So it really wasn't Hampton's man, or not necessarily so?
Not necessarily. It was a straight bust in the coverage.
First and goal to go, Argos at the Stampeder 2. Flutie with all kinds of time and an end zone wide open. He'll get there. That looked easy. A little jog into the end zone. Argos on top once more.
Both coaching staffs, the Argos and the Calgary Stampeders, were standing beside the field to start the game, and I kind of jokingly turned to them and I said, you know, this would be great to see a little bit of a shootout. Doesn't matter to me who wins the game, but it'd be nice to see a shootout, and we are. Flutie has a couple of options. Not bad coverage downfield, although Daryl Mitchell had opened up early, but he saw that he had the angle and takes off into the end zone.
Vanderjack adds one more, and the Argonauts back on top by 5. So far, it's a shootout, Suits. Fittingly at McMahon Stadium in Calgary.
While Doug Flutie has scored in Calgary, a few miles north in Edmonton, Darren Flutie has given the Eskimos a shot at getting right back into this football game. This 6-yard TD pass. Flutie would later catch a 2-point convert. We got it all tied up at Commonwealth. Now back to Calgary.
And you're right in time for the kickoff here. We've seen some good returns. This is Coleman. He had one earlier. Calgary with decent field position out near the 42. Adrian Smith made the tackle on the Calgary return guy. 22 yards in the return. Stampeders scored early. McLaughlin, field goal. Next drive, and this field goal.
Sorry, John, that one there was coming right after Jeff Garcia got hurt and went back onto the field. His first 2 passes went incomplete, so he was still shaking off the cobwebs.
Garcia has played well at McMahon tonight. 1st and 10. Stampeders at the 44. Garcia has time and has a man. Oh! Travis Moore had it. Should have held on. No excuse.
Calgary coaching staff been talking for the last 2 weeks to the receivers. Travis Moore being one of them. He's right in here. Travis Moore works to the inside on the pick play. A little bit of a rub by Danielson to hold Ken Benson back deeper, and just turns and takes his eyes off the football. But the coaching staff been talking to the receivers about running after they catch. But you got to catch it first.
Catch, then run.
There you go.
Or keep running and catch it on the go. Garcia has Vaughn's second big catch of the ball game. Marcelo Simmons over to make the tackle. Calgary first down. Closer look right here.
Terry Vaughn is getting closer and closer to his average from last year, which was an incredible 16 yards a catch. Nice little head fake right there on Donald Smith, and comes up with a big 16-yard reception.
Right on the average. Vaughn had the big touchdown moments ago to put Calgary back in the lead. Toronto has driven and regained the lead once more, but the Stampeders threaten again. Danielson made the catch in front of Marcelo Simmons. More than halfway to a first down.
Can Vince Danielson fill the shoes of Dave Sapunjas? I know he's tired of hearing it. He played a lot last season with, as the 5th receiver, of course, with Sapunjas in the lineup, but he's come into his own. He's leading the Calgary Stampeders in receptions. He's really done a good job of presenting a target for Jeff Garcia, especially in the last 2 weeks.
Garcia has really spread it around. He has 3 300-yard receivers. Moore hangs on to this one, but he'll come up a little shy of the first down. Marcelo Simmons makes the tackle.
Depends on where, yeah.
Maybe they get a nice spot down there.
Yeah, it depends on where they spot the ball, because the catch was made at the marker.
Good eyes, partner. It is a first down by inches, but that's all it takes. Nice hit by Simmons.
That's Marcelo Simmons, and here's Travis Moore. Moore is right at the marker when he catches it. The hit's right there by Simmons. Now, you get your forward progress, and Travis Moore gets the Calgary spot.
Might be a slightly favorable spot for the Stampeders.
That's called home field advantage.
First down. Garcia again. Danielson again.
John, this is what the Toronto defense will give Jeff Garcia throughout this game. We're seeing a lot of completions right now from Garcia. Danielson underneath. Travis Moore underneath. Toronto defense plays a lot of zone coverage. They make you be patient as an offense. Work the ball down the field. Garcia has been patient of late and has been in this drive as well.
Garcia with a hurry-up offense. 8:29 to go till halftime. As Anderson sneaking out of the backfield, and a little extra effort gets them fairly close to a first down. We'll see if they'll get a favorable spot again. 9 yards anyway.
Kelvin Anderson has been a consistent performer for Calgary in the running game all year. He's right here and just going to slip out in the screen. But watch how the Toronto defense sit back. That's the zone I'm talking about. They have to stay back with the deeper receivers, so that gives a little room for Kelvin Anderson underneath.
Second down, and it's a long yard to go for Calgary. Kelvin Anderson needs a spot, but looks like he should have it. He'll be very close.
Well, they'll have another chance, but I don't know if he got it on that attempt.
Eric Johnson, who's played so well for the Toronto Argonauts since making his way into the lineup, made the stop there. Wally may have to make a little decision here.
Yeah, I don't think he got it on that play. Didn't look like from our angle that he got across that first down marker. Demetrius Maxey was on that side of the field, and
it was a long yard.
No.
About a half a yard shy.
Wow, that's a long half a yard, too, and this is against the Toronto defense that leads the league in takeaways by downs, meaning when teams gamble on third down like Wally Buono has to right now, this Argo defense leads the league in stopping them. So this is a bigger gamble than perhaps it normally would be.
Third down, less than a yard to go. Garcia himself, there are markers down. And who moved?
Amazes me how they can tell.
It'll be a first down, Calgary. Argonauts offside.
Offside, Toronto 92.
Rob Waldrop, he was the nose tackle, and the nose tackle's right at the point of attack. He's right here. He's the one who's going to just get a little anxious, pop forward, get caught.
So the tide turns again in a great half of football at McMahon Stadium. Stampeder drive continues. Garcia with time. As a man, Vaughn couldn't make the catch. Smith makes a wonderful play, and so does Smith.
You know, I love to see the big play by the free safety, and Lester Smith, who will come from that position and blitz a lot, will get some help. He's going to come. Travis Moore is going to come down the middle, and Terry Vaughn's going to come down behind him. Excuse me, Moore breaks to the wheel. Now here comes Vaughn. Watch Lester Smith come across, line him up, and put the shoulder right into the solar plexus.
And Adrian Smith very much in on that play. Smith and Smith ganging up against Terry Vaughn. And I believe that's Lester, the injured Argonaut, number 36. Lester Smith. While there's an injury timeout at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, a quick timeout. Great ball game brewing here. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Adrian Smith, the Argonauts' right cornerback, has one interception, and here's his fourth knockdown of the year. Pretty nice play.
Well, Adrian Smith knows that he can play outside when Lester Smith, who is still shaking off the hit, comes across from the middle. When you're the corner, you can play outside and play the ball. You know that free safety is going to line up the receiver and take him out. Lester Smith has to come out because he jammed his shoulder on the play.
This is 2nd and 10, Stampeders. From the Argonauts 17, Garcia wide open, touchdown, Danielson. yards. What a great drive. Garcia completed 6 of 8 on the drive and finished us off with Vince Danielson's first touchdown of the season.
I want to say hi to my brother back in Vancouver. Happy birthday, Anton. Hope you're having a good day, buddy.
Let me correct that. First touchdown of the game, 2nd of the season, Vince. Stampeders on top again by 2.
Well, it's basically the same play from Jeff Garcia. And this time, he tries to take advantage of the middle of the field where there's been a change for the Argos. Lester Smith, the safety who starts at that position, is on the bench. And Kelly Wilshire has to come in and replace him. Now, he usually plays the nickel, not the safety position. And Vince Danielson, Jeff Garcia take advantage of the change, go right at him.
Filling Dave Sapunjas' spot, doing it effectively, but he's a different style receiver than Sapunjas, isn't he?
My sister Tina and my other brother Steve.
He's got more time.
Hope everything's going well back there. I don't think I can say hi to anyone else, so.
Bye now.
Did these guys sweat? Oh, he's wiped it off. Okay. All the messages. That saves a lot of money in phone bills. Please sweat when you catch touchdown passes.
The only problem with that is when you forget somebody really important.
Oh, yeah.
And the close-ups put on, right?
Yeah, because then the phone bill goes way up because you're apologizing.
You got a phone and say, sorry.
Yeah.
Did you ever forget to say hi to Elizabeth on one of those close-ups?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
There's the pinball. Mike Clemens. He's been superb on returns. This one isn't bad either. Out near the 35. Roger Reinson leading the Stampeder tacklers. 27 yards there. Vince Danielson on patrol on the sidelines. He's one of Wally's favorites these days.
Well, again, I don't think anybody will ever forget about Sponge, but, you know, Vince it's his time.
He labored behind Sponge for a lot of years, but I think it was good for him. He understood the process. He learned by it, and now that he steps in, it looks like he's been there all the time.
10 plays, 69 yards, capped off by Danielson's 18-yard touchdown, second of the season. He was a big part of the drive. Vince Danielson, fourth catch, was for a touchdown.
It's a track meet.
It is.
Who gets the ball last?
We're hoping for 61-60, last play field goal. Being attended to down there.
Jason Clement, first round pick. Looks like they're looking at his ankle.
Let's catch up on the other football game underway tonight. It's close too. Here's Rod Smith.
Well, John, after the Eskimos came back to tie the game, they added a field goal with Sean Fleming and then another touchdown, and here it is. Henry Gizmo Williams doesn't get a lot of highlights at receiver, but you can call this one an excellent highlight. Great catch for the Giz as the Eskimos now go up by 10, 21-11, late in the second quarter at Commonwealth Stadium.
He's having a pretty good night there. And the Pinballs having a wonderful night for the Argos here. Flutie throwing on the run on first down. Mitchell made the catch and stayed in bounds, apparently. Although the Stampeders suggest he might have been out a little earlier than that.
Well, they finally run a variation of the shovel pass. This time, the new wrinkle in it is to get the ball to Daryl Mitchell, who just runs a quick out pattern on Kenton Leonard. He breaks to the out. Now, did he stay in bounds as he goes down the sideline? He's in so far.
Tough to tell.
In so far. He's out there.
I don't know.
Maybe
tough to tell.
Maybe got an extra 1 or 2 yards.
Yeah, I think maybe 1 or 2.
Nice tightrope walking for Daryl Mitchell.
Argos set up at the 40 of the Stampeders. Calgary on top by 2, and a great football evening at McMahon. Flutie on first down. Big catch. Mitchell hanging on again in front of John Callan.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders have decided to stop the shovel pass by trying to take away Drummond. You see that Big Marvin Pope is up there on Drummond. Now the other option for Flutie will be to hang on to the ball longer and then look for receivers downfield. He's gone to Mitchell, and he goes to downfield again. That'll be the next step for Doug Flutie.
Pickup of 10. Here's Robert Drummond. More than halfway to a first down. And John Callan on the stop there. I'll get the name correct this time. Out of the University of Calgary. First start as a Stampeder safety.
He was part of that trade, John Callan for Ray Bernard. And Roger Reinson played last week at safety while Callan was learning the defensive system. But John Callan is a true safety. Roger Reinson more of a linebacker, so Callan starts tonight.
6 for Drummond. Flutie stares at 2nd and 4. He'll have the first down. Little quarterback drop. Anthony McClanahan on the tackle. Haven't mentioned him a whole bunch so far tonight.
Well, Anthony McClanahan painted his hair last week for the first time and had a big game with 5 tackles. But Flutie sees an opening when he runs the spread. He can do this on his own. Obviously has the green light whenever he sees he can take off. And Anthony McClanahan has to chase him down.
McClanahan has 1 sack to his credit so far this season. Flutie has a first down. Outside the 15. Flutie with time, end zone. The catch is made, but out of bounds. Andre Kerwan says, I was in, but I think the right call was made.
Now, you only need 1 foot in bounds. Canadian Football League. He's going to drag his feet. Did he keep him in? He's got the ball right now. No, I think that big toe is on the line.
I think the call's correct. From that angle. What about this one?
No, I think he's out of bounds. Good call by the official. It was right on the spot.
2nd and 10. Flutie tries again, same corner. This one is picked up in the end zone. It was tipped, and Alondra Johnson tipped it. Hampton comes up with it. A little frustration there after a solid drive. Hampton finally gets something to go his way tonight.
John, Alondra Johnson was the reason that Doug Flutie was frustrated, because Alondra Johnson is in charge of spying Flutie. You see 51 right there. He breaks on the football, goes right through his hands, and William Hampton comes up with a pick. But Alondra Johnson is in charge of spying. Marvin Pope gives Flutie a little bit of a shove at the end of the play, but Flutie never saw 51 coming across.
Hampton missed a couple of tackles on pinball in the opening quarter. Comes up with the interception here. Stampeders first down. Here's Vaughn slanting in. Nice spin move. And Vaughn has got about 7 yards. Andrew Stewart wrapped him up there. It's the Stampeders on top in a seesaw shootout at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Big Alondra Johnson makes the play to get the Stampeders the interception and end that Argonaut drive.
Well, when you're spying the quarterback and you have the option then to break on the football if he can't scramble, and Alondra Johnson doesn't. Now, he doesn't catch it, but he tips it up in the air. That gives William Hampton enough time, and Doug Flutie didn't see him and is visibly upset for not seeing the spy come across.
Kerwan was in the vicinity, likely the intended receiver.
Of course, Calgary loves to have the leadership of Alondra Johnson, and Doug Flutie talking to his receiving corps over there saying, yeah, I didn't see 51. That was my bad.
The leaders thus far, the winners, I think the fans here in Calgary, it's a great ball game. 23-21, Stamps on top. This is 2nd and 4. Garcia steps up, didn't see anyone trailing him, and he's grabbed from behind by Reggie Gibbons. And Andrew Stewart also there.
Reggie Gibbons had 3 sacks coming into the football game and does a nice job of coming underneath the block. Garcia really has no one downfield. Nice job by the secondary of the Argos to jam the receivers, and then Gibbons can slide underneath and come up with the sack. Reggie Gibbons can play linebacker and has throughout the year, but with any injury problems, he can also move up and play the rush end position.
How about this, Suits? This is only the 3rd punt of the game.
Oh, you got to love that. Punters may feel a little guilty about picking up their game check.
Had some great returns, though, on kickoffs and a couple of punts that we have seen. This one a little short. The pinball squirms out across the 40 to about the 42. And again, Aldi Henry on the tackle. Flutie a little frustrated by the last sequence. Try and get the Argos headed in the right direction again. 2:07 to go till halftime. These guys are matching each other pass for pass, touchdown for touchdown.
And the big stat right there for Jeff Garcia, 0 interceptions. Making good decisions again tonight. With the help of a veteran in Danny Barrett, who's now the quarterback coach, standing there.
The Argo turnover was not costly on the interception, however. Fairly decent field position here at the 40 to begin this drive. Flutie to the far side. Robert Drummond made the catch, and he was wrapped up by Johnson. First catch for Drummond, I believe. It is.
Well, Robert Drummond's only 100-yard rushing game this season was against the BC Lions, but boy, has he contributed to a lot of wins. I mean, look at the job that he did last week in a big win against the Montreal Alouettes. Of course, he had 84 yards receiving and 81.
And look at that little red triangle down there.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns in the first half. Nice night, Robert. Flutie near side. Pinball escaped for 1 and then took a big hit. Must be a face mask down there because the flags fly. And Alondra Johnson in on the tackle on Pinball. And Mike Pinball Clemens slightly shaken up down there.
Daryl Hall was the first one on the scene. Looked like he may have got his hand on the face mask.
Major foul, face mask, Calgary number 4.
Godai's 5th penalty against the Stampeders for 92 yards.
Well, there's Daryl Hall right there. He's going to come across and make the tackle on Pinball, and Pinball tries to duck. You see that left hand, or excuse me, right hand go up underneath the face mask and pull him down. Pinball took a couple other hard hits after that. From the other side, watch Pinball's mask just come down right there. He got it right there. Yep. Penalty.
Number 4. Almost 100 yards in penalties against the Stampeders. Argonauts set up near the 50. This is Drummond. Stamps have been tough to run against tonight.
Well, they're 5th in the league coming into this game against the run. They give up less than 100 yards rushing. Of course, a lot of the plays for Robert Drummond are through that shovel pass, which is in the stats as a pass, not a run. So, although that last one wasn't.
The rushers haven't been busy. The receivers have.
Right.
3 for Drummond, 2nd and 7. Argonauts. Almost picked out. Mazzotti was the target. Anthony McClanahan had his mitts on it and couldn't squeeze it.
Number 41 knocked down Doug Flutie's pass on 2nd down.
Did Flutie not see him at all?
Linebackers told to read the eyes of the quarterback. I think Doug Flutie knew he was out there, but thought he could beat him with the ball to the receiver. He gets a little pressure off the edge from Dwayne Patterson, but great break on the ball from Anthony McClanahan, who reads the eyes of Doug Flutie and takes off when that ball's in the air.
1:10 is Vanderjack. Puts it down near the 10. This is Coleman for Calgary. Out to the 22. Wrapped up there by Noah Cantor. 13 yards on the return. Garcia has a minute to work with till halftime. 23-21, Stampeders on top of the Argonauts.
Interested to talk to Wally Buono and Tony Marciano, the offensive coordinator for Calgary. Tony Marciano calls 95% of Jeff Garcia's plays, and I asked him why, because that's kind of unusual, but he says Garcia has such a linebacker-type mentality that sometimes he gets so fired up, it's better that we call him for him. He just has to execute him.
Stampeders beginning at the 22. Garcia has something open up. The markers are down. Garcia needed a block and got one. On Ken Benson.
Wow, did he ever?
But the marker went down well before that.
Red Bailey.
Who wiped out Benson?
Red Bailey comes back and puts a huge block on Ken Benson.
54 seconds till halftime.
Well, if the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are watching this game.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver. Toronto, number 7.
That's Johnny Harris.
Johnny Harris got nailed. But if the Bombers are watching, their linebacking core got hit by these Calgary receivers a couple of times last week, and right now the Argos are as well.
First down, Calgary. Less than a minute till halftime. Stamps out across the 30 at the 32. Garcia has Anderson. Check that, Fred Bailey. Fred Bailey made the catch, and only 3 yards. Boys are warming up back at CFL Live headquarters. Marty Less, Bob, along with Rod Smith. Looking good tonight, aren't they? Oh, maybe they posed for that.
That's a stretch.
Yeah. Is that the publicity photo? Second down.
Over and under routes. That's
Travis Moore.
Vince Danielson coming over and Travis Moore coming under, and I don't think Vince Danielson knew which one the ball was intended to. He thrown to. Garcia kind of threw it in between them. Danielson's just going to check. Now, were you throwing that one to me?
Stay close to that quarterback. You get lots of footballs, right? Talked about Garcia spreading it around. Terry Vaughn, Travis Moore, and Vince Danielson all have 300-plus yards coming in to tonight's game.
And all on pace for over 1,000.
And two of the aforementioned, Moore and Danielson, have touchdowns tonight. Big kick by Martino down to the 30 with 32 seconds to go. And the pinball is running wild tonight. Daryl Hall wrapped him up. And the Tiger Cats on Friday Night Football tomorrow from Ivor Wynn. Who's going to be starting at quarterback?
Evan Mason.
All right, who's going to be starting at quarterback?
Injury problems.
Here's Flutie. Herwan makes the catch. There are markers down right on the line of scrimmage. I was wondering about Hamilton starting quarterback, too.
Mike Culley or Anthony Calvillo.
Looks like procedure. That's it. Against the Argonauts, 21 seconds till halftime. It was 26 Celsius when we began. Everybody was in shirt sleeves, but you're in Calgary. So the temperature does have a tendency to make a quick about face.
And Don Matthews has to make a quick about face about his thoughts for this drive. Now let's take a look at the weather. It cools off tonight.
Down to 16. That's a drop of 10 in, well, that was less than an hour, certainly. The winds have picked up a bit. 21 seconds till halftime. Flutie for Drummond.
Oh,
and there's another big hit. Anthony McClanahan and Alondra Johnson combining there. He started quietly, but he's made a lot of noise lately, number 41.
Big knockdown, and he comes up, puts a pretty good hit right here on the side of the screen, coming in on Robert Drummond. Robert Drummond takes a couple steps. Watch the head snap back. Bang. Right into the inside. I heard that one up here. I'm not sure about the dance. Or is it a dance? More of a...
Timeout Stampeders. So what color's the hair tonight under the helmet, you know?
Well, now I heard a rumor that he was just going to leave because he had a pretty good game last week.
Yellow, red, and blue, apparently.
Okay.
According to sources very close to this team. So we'll hope that Anthony takes the lid off at some point here. Perhaps about 15 seconds from now. This will be the last play of the opening half. Right after this one, as Flutie goes down and knocks 2 seconds off the clock.
Don Matthews will have word for his troops. I'm sure Wally Guano will too, about the stuff after the whistle. Hey!
Whoa!
Wellesley, where do you get one of those?
I don't know, but I'm going to buy you one right after the game.
Now, is the horse up top Ricky or Blue, the new horse? Because Ricky still has some
Ricky's
problems.
hurt, right?
He's got asthma. He still isn't back in the lineup.
Hey, what a great quarter. There's Blue.
And there's Blue.
How would they call a white horse Blue? Sounds like a country song, doesn't it? Halftime, and what a great first half it was. 2-point ball game. Stampeders have the lead at 23-21. Welcome back. CFL Live at the half. And the good news, yes, for Stampeder fans, the horse has done some running tonight. Rod Smith along with Bob Ovilovich, Les Brown, and Marty York of the Globe and Mail. We talked about it in the outset of this game. If Calgary wants to make a statement that it belongs in the CFL Elite, tonight is the night, taking on arguably the best team in the CFL, in the Argonauts. And Obi, Calgary certainly has been making that statement.
Hey, this is a great football game. Both teams are really hitting out there. They're both playing against the other team's strengths, and we're just seeing some great plays. You're seeing the two all-star quarterbacks from last year, and Jeff Garcia is doing a heck of a job for Calgary, and Doug's doing a heck of a job for Toronto. And you're going to see a play here when Jeff Garcia makes the touchdown throw to Terry Vaughn. Watch Garcia get out of trouble and then avoid the rush, step up into the pocket, and gun one on the run downfield to Vaughn, and then he does it all on his own. It shows you tremendous effort getting into the end zone, and that ignited the Stampeders, but Toronto came right back, so you're seeing a heck of a game tonight.
And as nice as that touchdown was, I thought the one by pinball was just as nice or maybe prettier.
Oh.
You know, it's funny. We always talk about pinball being a great diplomat of the CFL, and he always gets the kudos for things like that, his goodwill and everything. He is having his best season. At the age of 34, he's playing better right now than he did in 1990 when he was the most outstanding player in the league. He is, Les. Are you going to argue this? I can sense that you're coming.
No, I'm not going to argue at all. I agree with you.
And he led the CFL. He led the CFL last season in receptions, but he's doing it all this year, and it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, the only thing that scares you is that he's doing so much for the Argonauts, and he's got such a workload
Coach,
that you're just afraid he's going to get hurt. That's what I'm afraid of.
You don't think it'll last all year.
Well, I hope he doesn't get hurt because he is playing great.
What's really impressing me about this game is what Calgary's defense is doing to Toronto's offense. They're letting them catch the ball in front of them, and they're coming up making...
Welcome back. CFL Live at the Half. And the good news, yes, for Stampeder fans, the horse has done some running tonight. Rod Smith along with Bob Avilovich, Les Brown, and Marty York of the Globe and Mail. We talked about it in the outset of this game. If Calgary wants to make a statement that it belongs in the CFL Elite, tonight is the night, taking on arguably the best team in the CFL, in the Argonauts. And Obi, Calgary certainly has been making that statement.
Hey, this is a great football game. Both teams are really hitting out there. They're both playing against the other team's strengths, and we're just seeing some great plays. You're seeing the two all-star quarterbacks from last year, and Jeff Garcia is doing a heck of a job for Calgary, and Doug's doing a heck of a job for Toronto. And you're going to see a play here when Jeff Garcia makes the touchdown throw to Terry Vaughn. Watch Garcia get out of trouble, and then avoid the rush, step up into the pocket, and gun one on the run downfield to Vaughn, and then he does it all on his own. It shows you tremendous effort getting into the end zone, and that ignited the Stampeders, but Toronto came right back, so you're seeing a heck of a game tonight.
And as nice as that touchdown was, I thought the one by pinball was just as nice or maybe prettier.
Oh.
You know, it's funny. We always talk about pinball being a great diplomat of the CFL, and he always gets the kudos for things like that, his goodwill and everything. He is having his best season. At the age of 34, he's playing better right now than he did in 1990 when he was the most outstanding player in the league. He is, Les. Are you going to argue this? I can sense that you're coming.
No, I'm not going to argue at all. I agree with you.
And he led the CFL. He led the CFL last season in receptions, but he's doing it all this year, and it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, the only thing that scares you is that he's doing so much for the Argonauts, and he's got such a workload that you're just afraid he's going to get hurt. That's what I'm afraid of.
You don't think it'll last all year.
Well, I hope he doesn't get hurt because he is playing great.
What's really impressing me about this game is what Calgary's defense is doing to Toronto's offense. They're letting them catch the ball in front of them, and they're coming up making some good tackles. And that's the way you have to play this powder puff football team, is what Anthony McClanahan called them anyway. So.
I don't know if it's possible for Doug Flutie and the defense he faces to both have a good night, but it seems that they both are having pretty good evenings so far. Lots of lead changes, 4 of them, in fact, in a very close game. It is 2 points close. Calgary leading the Argonauts 23-21. Lots to come. CFL Live at the Half. We'll have a look at the Saskatchewan-Hamilton game coming up. Welcome back to CFL Live at the Half. Tomorrow night in Friday Night Football, the Saskatchewan Roughriders take on the Hamilton Tiger Cats at Iverwin Stadium. The starting quarterback for Saskatchewan will be Reggie Slack, despite his knee injury last week. Of all the questions Jim Daly, the second-year coach of Saskatchewan, has had to answer, it has been about that QB position. He spoke earlier with our Gord Miller.
Jim, let's talk to you about something you haven't had to answer about all year long, your quarterbacking situation. First of all, when Reggie Slack got hurt last week, the initial prognosis was that he might be out for the year. How concerned were you?
Well, certainly with the progress Reggie has made since coming to us this year as a free agent, it was a big concern. He's an experienced guy with 5 years or so in the league, and that's invaluable given the young quarterback situation we had last year, and we know we have talent at quarterback and had it last year, but they're just young. So we really feared the worst when Reggie got hit last week and was injured. Touch wood, luckily it's worked out great for us. The injury, as it turned out, went from crutches on Friday of last week to walking on Saturday and Sunday, and then actually practicing lightly Monday. And his knee is, luckily it was a blow that was delivered with his knee off the ground, and his foot wasn't quite planted. And it lessened the damage considerably.
Is Reggie Slack your #1 quarterback?
Well, we have said that for some time. We have a situation where we have 2 quarterbacks. They're both very good. We do not want a situation of ongoing looking over the shoulder who's starting. Reggie's our starter. We have a situation where either of our quarterbacks are very, very capable. Both have the confidence of the players and coaches. Reggie's experience and poise give him the nod right now. But we have no hesitation at any point of playing Kevin if Reggie hits a dry spell, as most quarterbacks in our league are, will do. There's very few people who have the experience and performance level that would, unless it's Doug Flutie, for example, or a Tracy Hammer or Damon Allen, who have with their experience the situation where they would carry a team for the whole year. We need to have 2 quarterbacks. We're very fortunate to have the 2 we have. And we're really lucky that we have one with 5 and 6 years experience, because that was certainly missing from us last year.
Jim, thanks very much, and we promise we'll talk more about your defense tomorrow night.
That'll be perfect.
Thanks, Gord. We'll be waiting for it. Also tonight at Commonwealth Stadium, the Eskimos and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, a 5-1 team against a 1-5 team. Blowout, right? Well, not really. Not the way the game started. It was all Blue Bombers early on. After a turnover, this is what gets Winnipeg started. Kevin McDougall, 69 yards. Milt Stegall taking it home and giving the Bombers the early 7-0 lead. They would add a field goal, but Edmonton coming back. Danny McManus to Darren Flutie, 6 yards away. That makes it 11-9. What the heck? Why not go for 2? You've got Darren Flutie, and Danny Mac looks for him again the other way this time. And yes, we have an 11-11 ball game in the first quarter. Well, Edmonton gets it going again here. I should say the second quarter. And it's Henry Gizmo Williams. A nice catch for the Giz, and he knows how to celebrate. Remember the backflip? Well, he's got something a little different this time. Gather around, boys. And just with some of his best friends there celebrating in style. 21-11, Sean Fleming adding a field goal. And it is the Eskimos in front by 10, something you'd expect a little bit more of the way things have been going for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers so far this season. And Marty, certainly some pressure in Jeff Reinbold and the quarterbacking situation. McDougall hasn't looked too bad, mind you, in this football game.
No, Rod, I still think that the Bombers are going to get trounced in this game, and the Eskimos are going to win big. But Kevin McDougall, no matter what happens tonight, has established himself as the first-string quarterback. There was an incident during the week, by the way, in which Chris Vargas and Jeff Reinbold got into a serious shouting match, and Reinbold is very upset with Vargas. Remember, Vargas wanted out of BC to go to Winnipeg so that he could get some playing time. He thought he should be starting ahead of Damon Allen in Vancouver. So now that he's not starting ahead of Kevin McDougall, he let his anger be known. I wouldn't be surprised to see him released very soon.
I tell you what, when you talked about him last week, as he took the bad attitude in practice when he was told that he wasn't going to be the starter, and then he came in and put that poor relief in when McDougall got hurt, that's not going to help your cause at all.
No.
And looking at it on the other side of the coin, looking at Edmonton tonight, Danny McManus seems zeroed in with his receivers. They're making great catches for him, as we saw in some of those highlights, and they're looking awfully good right now.
Can we have Marty say something nice about Danny Mac?
Danny McManus is having a very good season so far, but just when you think he's going to set the world on fire, boom, he throws an interception for a touchdown. He seems to do it all the time.
All quarterbacks do.
By the way, Winnipeg would be a lot closer in this game had Westwood not missed 2 short field goals.
And there's been a lot of hitting in that one as well. That football game, a 10-point lead for Edmonton, and it's close in Calgary as well. 2-point Stampeder lead. We got Friday Night Football coming up tomorrow. Saskatchewan Roughriders at Iverwin Stadium against the 1-5 Tiger Cats. We'll return after this. Welcome back to CFL Live at the Half, a half that has seen a lot of lead changes, 4 to be specific. Lots of other interesting numbers between the Argos and the Stamps. Let's get them now. Head to McMahon and join John and Glenn, guys.
Well, we couldn't ask for much more. The quarterbacks are playing each other pretty even, and we got a 2-point ball game at halftime.
What a great football game, a lot of great individual efforts, and you take a look at the numbers, it really is quite equal. Look at the time of possession, 15 minutes for Calgary, and so are 14 for the Argos, and real equal all across the board. We've seen the individual efforts from Pinball Clements breaking tackles and Terry Vaughn going over the top for touchdowns, and of course the controversies early in the game as well.
Yeah, well, the Argonauts are steamed that Michael O'Shea has been tossed out of this game for what was called a late hit and out of bounds on the quarterback for Calgary, Jeff Garcia. Have a look again. You tell me what you think.
Well, here's the play. I mean, Garcia starts to scramble and gets to the outside. Now, the first question you have to ask is he out of bounds? I'm talking about Jeff Garcia when he gets pushed. I think his foot was on the line. Now, I know Michael O'Shea a little bit and know that he wouldn't do that deliberately to try and hurt Jeff Garcia, but the statement was made by the officials to say, listen, we're protecting the quarterbacks. Garcia hit the bench hard. You pushed him out of bounds when maybe you didn't have to, and that's what's called. O'Shea gets thrown out of the game.
See, I don't know what you said. I don't know if you're in favor of it or not. Anyway,
that's
Garcia was right back. Michael Landsberg has an update from TSN Control, and come on right back for CFL Live's second half straight ahead.
What a great football evening at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. We look due east from our vantage point in the press box here. Ominous skies over there. Don Matthews trying to win a football game without his middle linebacker, Michael O'Shea, in the lineup. O'Shea tossed in the first half early.
Had a conversation with Eric Tillman, general manager of the Argos, right at halftime, and he
understandably he didn't like the call a bit.
Well, obviously he's going to be a little biased, but he was livid about the fact that O'Shea got thrown out. He said if Garcia just runs by and doesn't actually get hurt, there's not even a penalty.
Coleman is back, along with Fred Bailey, ready for the Mike Vanderjagt kickoff to get the second half underway. 2-point ball game. It's the Stamps by 2 as Coleman takes out. Marvin Coleman broke 1, and he has the Stampeders out near the 28. Dwayne Demtrition made the tackle, and here comes Jeff Garcia, shaken up in the first half. Only missed 1 series. He's moved it around well, Suits.
Yeah, he's done a good job of moving depending on what Toronto's defense is giving him, moving the ball around and across the field, and he's using all his receivers. Travis Moore, Vincent Anderson, and Terry Vaughn have all been very involved in the offense.
Stampeders beginning at the 43. Kelvin Anderson, nowhere to go at all. Gibbons was the first through to break up the play, and then Anderson was surrounded.
Rob Waldrop from the middle often has to take on the double teams, and you see he gets blocked by a couple guys there. Rocco Romano's the last one, but he fights them both off and gets back involved in the tackles. A little tough when you're that nose tackle. You're always taking 1 and 2 hits from 2 different angles.
And Brendan Rodgers getting some playing time in there, number 35, with O'Shea out for the night. Garcia, man open far side. He's got his target. It's Bailey. Fred Bailey's made a couple of catches of import tonight. Adrian Smith wrapped him up there.
This is what the Argo defense will make you do. Second and long situation, which Jeff Garcia does not want to be in. They'll drop off in zone now. Now Garcia has to throw it to where the defense dictates, so he throws it underneath that zone, and when he does, the Argos come up and make the tackle and hold him short.
Third down. Martino has the breeze at his back for the third quarter, so the Argos will have that advantage in the final. Pinball's had a great night. Mike Saunders has been used sparingly offensively, but he's back with Pinball to return. High kick. Clemens chased back near the 10. Surrounded down there, not much of a return this time. There are markers down. John Kalin led the Stampeder tacklers. He got help from Darrell Hall. They will check out the penalty. It's against Toronto. 4 on the return after a nice 50-yard punt. Calgary will try and make or take advantage of this stiffening breeze here.
Well, this is how Don Matthews' Argos started.
Toronto 27.
This is how Matthews' team started the game.
Right back here.
In a drive in their own end, and they're heading straight into that win.
Breeze is at the backs of the Stampeders, so Flutie will fire into it.
Now, unless Wally Buono knows something, though, that means that Doug Flutie will have the wind in the fourth quarter, as he has some connections.
Flutie aired one out earlier, 47 yards into the breeze, straight into it. From the shotgun on first down. Tip. McClanahan again.
Anthony McClanahan doing his thing. He talks about it after the fact. Here he is at the top of your screen, just to the flow to the eyes. He goes to the outside when Flutie looks out there, and ball is partially tipped up front by Dwayne Patterson, and had it not been, I think it goes right to Anthony McClanahan.
Was it this guy who called the Argonauts a powder puff offense on Sports Desk earlier today?
I think it was.
Absolutely. 2nd and 10. Flutie to his left, man open, it's the pinball. He escaped for an extra couple. Kenton Leonard had him wrapped up. Where's the spot? I don't think quite there. He's a yard shy.
Well, he's a yard shy, but in the position that Doug Flutie's on the field, there's no way that they would take a chance from there. Especially in a close football game. This is a no-brainer. Don Matthews punts the ball away and lets his #1 or arguably #1 defense in the league come back on the field.
This is really interesting. You look at the Argos leading in those 18 of 25 categories.
Yeah.
And then you say it is the best defense in the league, and there's statistics to back that up. But then you look at Saskatchewan's defense, which is terrific. Edmonton's defense with all those stars. Vanderjack giving up 2. And now a flag goes down in the end zone as Drummond hangs on to a Stampeder down there. Dwayne Ford trying to get to Vanderjack.
Well, John,
2 penalties down, 3 flags down.
The holding is going to be automatic against the Argos. The Argos have been told to hold when you're giving up the safety. Don Matthews doesn't mind if they take the penalty. If Calgary takes the penalty, they'll just do the exact same thing again.
At least 3 Toronto players declined safety touch.
At least.
Hey, now that is the most humor I've ever heard from a Canadian Football League official.
At least
save that tape, folks. That could be fun. So Don gives up 2. Stampeders lead is now 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. He had it exactly right.
Play safe. I'll tell you, Flutie's having a big night in Alberta. Not talking about Doug either. Brother Darren, another touchdown catch right here from Danny Mack. After a long Gizmo Williams punt return, it's all Edmonton, 28-11 in the 3rd.
Don Matthews is smiling over there. He's got this game all figured out. The holding calls really don't cost the Argonauts anything except the 2 points they were willing to concede anyway.
No, I mean, Don Matthews is told that everybody up front, hold your man. Now, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. There's the holding. Now, there's a bunch up front as well that the rest didn't call, but the holding doesn't matter because you're going to decline the penalty and take the kickoff. But what Don Matthews did do is kill 18 seconds of time that the Calgary Stampeders had the clock.
Marvin Coleman out near the 35. He's running well tonight on returns, wrapped up by Eric Johnson. 33 of 46 points scored this evening with the Breeze. So it'll be important to the Argonauts in the 4th quarter.
Well, Matthews just killed 18 seconds. Calgary has that Breeze. A good play. Now, if Calgary takes the penalty back then, he gets to kill more time, which of course they didn't.
Garcia with a first down. From the 35. Kelvin Anderson. Maybe 5. He's out to the 40. Ken Benson there. Extra work for Benson with Michael O'Shea out of there and Brendan Rodgers taking his spot.
Well, Ken Benson will usually play on the outside. He play more in the middle, at the middle linebacker position, have Brendan Rodgers play outside. Ken Benson doing a good job for Don Matthews this year. Has a couple of sacks.
Argos think he's the best linebacker in the league. On target. Brennan right into Travis Moore's mitts. Jeff Garcia gets the Stampeders another first down.
Travis Moore caught that ball in traffic and looked like a routine catch because it hit him right in the numbers. But when you've got guys like Ken Benson and guys like that we just talked about cruising in that middle, it makes it a little more difficult, and Travis Moore comes up with one.
Fourth catch. Garcia has used his receivers very effectively tonight. First down here and an opportunity. Moore again. Johnny Harris had him by one leg, but he grabbed an extra yard. Maybe a couple.
Well, Johnny Harris kind of gets frozen, and so do the linebacking corps, because they don't know if Jeff Garcia is going to run. You see the Travis Moore, he gets frozen right there thinking that Garcia may run. That opens up Travis Moore, and come up and then get dragged by him for a couple extra yards.
Eric Johnson came over to finish him off. The gain is 14. Calgary first down at the Toronto 45. Garcia. Moore again. Interesting the way he's gone to his receivers in spurts, isn't it? Went to Danielson a couple of times in succession.
Garcia did a nice job of looking off the defense. When you play zone as a quarterback, you can't look at the receiver that you initially want to throw to. Garcia's looked at him. Yeah, look, he's looking all to the left, and then at the last second comes back and throws the strike. That holds that defense to the right side of the field, Warren.
Stampeders have the lead by 4, but it's really important they get some points out of this drive. Garcia, quarterback draw. Points may come here. He's down to the 5. What a great call. Donald Smith.
Tony Marciano says Jeff Garcia has the attitude of a linebacker. Well, when you get in the open field and there's linebackers going after your head, usually a quarterback will slide down, not Garcia. He keeps running. He's thinking pay dirt all the way.
The Smith boys saved the touchdown, but the Stampeders are set up first and goal to go at the Argonaut 5. Garcia. He's got it. Fred Bailey. What a great drive that was. A fun ballpark tonight. 31-21. Stampeders lead it by 10. Make that 11. Garcia, 5-yard touchdown toss to Fred Bailey. He spread it around perfectly, but Garcia got the Stampeders down to the 5-yard line all by himself. This guy has had one hot night, Jeff Garcia. He spread it around and found every receiver in the backfield.
And he's doing what he has to do. That's be patient, take what the Toronto defense is giving him. He put together a great drive there. He combined some good throws to Travis Moore and a couple of running plays and really put together a nice drive.
My bet is if the Stampeders get one more touchdown, Travis Moore will make the catch. So far, Vaughn, Bailey, and Vince Danielson have had touchdown tosses from Jeff Garcia. Stamps lead it by 11. Here's the pinball ready to return for the Argonauts. Stampeders had it well covered. Again, Aldi Henry. Solid on special teams.
Hey, Melissa, Grandpa, Grandma, everybody back home in California, love you. Doing a great job tonight. Let's do it.
Well, it's a great call down on the goal line. Vince Danielson runs his man off, so does Travis Moore, and so does Terry Vaughn, and then Fred Bailey comes right underneath all of them. He knows he's going to get man-to-man down on the goal line, and Adrian Smith hesitates and can't catch up.
Wind has been a major factor in the scoring in this one tonight. Argos have fallen down by 11. Here's Flutie on first down. Almost picked off. He was behind Masati.
Mazzani may have just made the defensive play of the game for the Argos should they win this one, because he was open originally, but Marvin Coleman found a way to catch up. Take a look at the jam first of all. Now, Mazzani will break off the jam in a little bit of a grab. He gets open briefly. Marvin Coleman comes back, he gets underneath him, but Paul Mazzani gets that hand in there, or else that's a huge play. Lots more momentum for Calgary.
The Argonauts have yet to get a first down in the second half. Another pick. This is Eddie Davis. Stampeders are turning it on. Down to the 20-yard line. It's a little wild here tonight, isn't it?
Oh, you think they're starting to believe in Calgary?
The guys in red and white started 0-3.
This game is a long way from over, but what a play by Eddie Davis. He is right here and will bait Doug Flutie. He's in the zone to the outside. He sees the ball in the air, and Flutie doesn't put enough air on the football to get it over him, and he comes up with a big catch.
Flutie has tossed a couple of interceptions. This one could be costly. Garcia bobbled it, though. Still made a play, and had Vaughn, who couldn't hang on. Bad play all round. Couple of fumbles there. Vaughn should have been able to hang on.
Well, if I were Calgary right now, I'd just go get new football, because I think that one's got something on it. That one's slick. Garcia couldn't get the handle, and we heard the pop of Terry Vaughn's shoulder pads all the way up here. Eddie Davis, who just comes up with the pick, has to go and tell Terry Vaughn, hey, you got to use your hands, buddy. Use your hands, not your shoulder pads.
Second interception this season for Davis. Big one for the Stampeders, who should come away with points here. 2nd and 10. Garcia looks to the corner. No catch. Marcelo Simmons was covering on Bailey.
I can't believe that Fred Bailey is not arguing for a pass interference call. I think Marcelo Simmons grabbed. Well, now he is, and you'll see Kelvin Anderson getting in there. He may have had a better view of it, but he's right up there at the top of your screen. Now watch right there, the left arm of Marcelo Simmons. He pulls him down around the waist.
Now, did Kelvin Anderson throw his flag on that play? Oh, he doesn't have one. Call it.
Let's go. Everybody get one.
McLaughlin, perfect night going. 3 for 3 coming into this game. He made 11 of his last 12. He's 4 for 4. Long way to go. And the Argonauts will have to win in the 4th quarter, but right now it's the Calgary Stampeders. Calgary Stampeders have 10 points off turnovers from the Argonauts and have a 14-point lead.
Great pick by Eddie Davis to come underneath and come up with the good catch. You know, defensive backs normally just knock it down, but Eddie Davis had to go up there and put his hands on it. Bring it down. Pretty good catch.
That set up a McLaughlin field goal.
Yeah.
And Calgary leads at 35-21. Argos going into the win for 6 more minutes. Markers down, and Flutie hits his target. Daryl Mitchell, wrapped up by McClanahan and Eddie Davis.
All right. Toronto 57.
Dan Payne is number 57 in white.
When he was in Saskatchewan, we called him Mountain. Here he is right there. He gets caught on the holding. We called him Mountain because, well, in the program, he's 300 pounds. I think he's more like 350.
He's tough to go around. He got nailed for it that time. 1st and 20. Flutie shotgun. He's got time. Can't find a receiver till now. Drummond takes it coming out of the backfield. There's a marker down once more. And Darrell Hall up to stop him short of the first down. Drummond slightly shaken up, landed on his elbow there, it looks like. 13 yards. He needed 20.
When a quarterback has a lot of time to throw, even almost too much time, you know, chances are it's holding are pretty good.
It's going against Calgary, though, as they talk to Saunders there.
Well, I didn't say it couldn't be defensive holding.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver, Calgary number 11.
Well, it could be that, too.
Calgary number who?
Tony Martino has moved into the secondary for the Calgary Stampeders.
Oh, boy.
It must be 21, Will Hampton. What do you think?
I would say so.
Tony back in the secondary would be a little frightening, wouldn't it?
That would scare Wally Buono, yeah.
So the Argos, back where they started, with a first down and 10. Flutie has Mazzani. Mazzani has a first down. Coleman made the stop. Marv Coleman, number 17. Close look at Mazzani here. He's having a good night.
This is one of the toughest patterns to cover in man-to-man defense. Marvin Coleman, number 17, has to go all the way across the field with Paul Mazzani. And once Mazzani gets that inside position, now it's just a chase. And no matter how fast you are, once the receiver is inside you by a yard or two, you're going to maintain that same separation the whole way across the field.
Argonauts with a first down across the 45. Flutie throws it a long way out there. Picked off again. Here's Hampton. Here's the touchdown. It has cost the Argonauts dearly. A 59-yard touchdown by William Hampton. What a horrible start he had to the night. He sure redeemed himself.
He really has. Second interception tonight, John, like you mentioned, takes it back for the touchdown, but he really had all day to wait on the football because it was a ball that Doug Flutie never should have thrown.
Had to fire a long way to that sideline, and it didn't get to the intended target. 2 interceptions for William Hampton. Frustration for Doug Flutie.
Well, Doug Flutie saw Eddie Davis in the zone defense right here, going to slide to the flat. Now, he can't get out there in time, or he's not going to get out there in time. Hampton is way up at the top in the deep coverage. He's going to break on the ball, has all day to come underneath it, and it was a ball that Doug Flutie really never should have thrown. It was way too far, and he didn't throw it in time.
Andre Kerwin appeared to be the intended target. Hampton missed a couple of tackles on the pinball in the early going. Now he's got 2 interceptions. One for a 59-yard touchdown. Stampeders 42. The Argonauts 21. Stampeders have scored 20 points with the breeze at their backs in this quarter.
Well, you know that when you have number 2 on your sideline, you're never out of a game.
And he'll have the win in the fourth quarter.
Exactly. He has the win coming back in the fourth quarter. No matter what has happened, he'll put that behind him. He still has plenty of time, even in this quarter, to put some points on the board against the win. And then, of course, in the long quarter, which is the fourth, he'll have a chance to bring his team back.
I said 20. They got 19 points in this quarter.
Okay, well, get it right.
We have it now. 3:58 to go. Stampeders would like to add a little more to this total, knowing that Flutie will have the win. Hampton on the oxygen.
If this game keeps going like that, I'm going to need some of that oxygen.
Pinball bobbled it. And never really regained his confidence. defense on that return. Raymond Biggs led the tacklers, and here comes Flutie. Couple of interceptions in the second half. 3 on the night. He has not won in this uniform in this ballpark. And the Argos have struggled at McMahon Stadium for some unknown reason. You remember 1988?
Wow. Wow. Still playing.
Now, there were some terrible Argo teams through portions of those eras. This is not a terrible team. Pinball fumbled it out of bounds after making the catch. Forced out by Eddie Davis.
Still Argo football after 30.
I'm a little surprised that Toronto hasn't gone back to that shovel pass series that they ran late in the third quarter and had a lot of success with. Now, mind you, they're down, but heading into the win, it seems to me to be the perfect series that Don Matthews could put in. Doug Flutie could run because the passes are high percentage.
So what do we know about this game? We spent 6 minutes in the opening talking about the shovel pass and the shuttle pass. Saying, you got to watch for this, folks. We haven't seen it yet. Argos down by 3 touchdowns. Robert Drummond got the call on second and about 3. Well, maybe second and 2, actually. Stampeders are clapping. Eddie Brown wrapped up the Argonaut running back. Where's the spot? They'll take a closer look at this one. What do you think?
I thought they were awful close.
You're really good at these
left-footed or right-footed spot. A little short. Got to go gambling now.
You got to go for it here. 2:56 to go, third quarter. Argos still heading into the breeze.
Remember I talked about the Toronto defense being the #1 in the league and turnover by downs? Well, they're tied with Calgary. So this also becomes a little bit bigger of a gamble for Don Matthews.
Third down, a yard to go. Well, less than a yard. No markers down. And it looks like they should have it.
And it is first down Toronto.
Well, Mike Kiselak leads the way, number 53 from the center. You saw him get nice and low. He has to also snap the football to Doug Flutie. He doesn't, executes the snap, gets low, and Flutie follows him in for the first down.
Andre Kirwan flanks to the near side. The Argos with their 6 receivers set. Just Drummond in the backfield. Flutie under heat. McConaughey got to him as he goes out of bounds. Flutie was looking for a call. What do you think?
That started to look a lot like Michael O'Shea pushing Jeff Garcia out of bounds, only McClanahan doesn't push Doug Flutie.
He tackles him, really, doesn't he?
He grabs him from the back of the shoulder pads and pulls him down. Even
Lucky he's pliable.
Well, now, where's he out of bounds? Because, no, McClanahan had no idea. He grabs him while inbound.
Yeah, he touched him. It did look similar and right in the same area of the football field, too. No penalty there. 2nd and 10. Flutie has Mazzotti at midfield. That'll be a Toronto first down. Out near the 50, Kenton Leonard made the tackle.
What a throw by Doug Flutie to find the football, try and weave it through the linebackers and get it into the hands of Paul Mazzotti, who's going to cut across the zone defense. Now, his job here is just to find a hole. He cuts through the hole for McClanahan, across the one that Alondra Johnson was standing in, and Flutie somehow threads the needle and finds him.
16 yards for Mazzotti there. 6th catch on the night. He has 78 receiving yards and an early touchdown. Flutie, quarterback draw. He'll do it himself. Got a big first down earlier, just like that. Daryl Hall got him. And he'll move the sticks one more time. 49 seconds left in the third quarter. Flutie grabs 11 here.
Quarterback draw. This one looked like to me it was called just because of the way the offensive line up front blocked. Dan Payne pulled. Mike Kiselak got out in front of Doug Flutie. Sometimes he'll take it on his own. Don Matthews doesn't mind if he just runs it, and other times they'll design the play and have some blocking help for him.
From the Calgary 50, Toronto first down. Flutie floats it over from Azadi. He's got about 5. Couldn't break away. From Daryl Hall, I believe.
Brought down by the Stampeders, number 94, Jeff Carversy.
Just 4 yards.
Well, what Doug Flutie's going to want to do 2 things, obviously, in this play. One is get the first down, but the other is if he can't get the first down, well, the time has run out. So this will be the last play, because if he doesn't get the first down now, he turns around and kicks with the wind.
2nd and 6, after 46.
Wind a definite factor. Flutie under great pressure. Escapes that. Tripped at the 55. And Big Daddy, Marvin Pope. And when I say tripped, it was a legal trip. He grabbed him by the foot and tripped Flutie up. Final play. Quarter 3. The Argos have the win. When we return to McMahon Stadium, we'll see if Flutie can bring them back. CFL Live Control coming right up.
Welcome back. CFL Live after 3 quarters. Wow, the Stamps really pouring it on in that quarter, and certainly defense a big reason why. And one thing Les Brown can always catch out of the corner of his eye is a good corner. You appreciate the kind of work done, especially by William Hampton.
Oh, William Hampton, it really impresses me for a young kid, because for this main fact that I think it's a lot easier to play man-to-man than it is zone. You have to be much more disciplined to play zone, and this kid did it very well. You know, as you will see right here, he sits here and he watches the second receiver, who you key on all the time in this, go upfield, break on the out perfectly. And what else can you say? He takes it to the house for 6. And that is something really big. And that's what impressed me, I guess. I don't like to bring up NFL players, but Deion Sanders, when he played for San Francisco, had 7 interceptions, 5 of them for touchdowns like that. And that's impressive.
And a good sidelight is that Willie Hampton's also the young son of a former linebacker that played with Coach Buono with the Alouettes years ago. William Hampton was a good football player for the Alouettes.
All right, enough of that memory lane. Memory lane here. I want to ask you something. Why in the world can't Toronto beat Calgary in Calgary? This will be, if they lose this, 8 in a row in Calgary. What's going on?
It's a very simple answer, Marty. When you look back at those 8 games, if you count tonight's, Calgary's always had great football teams, and they've always won at home. They haven't lost too many games over that period of time, and they've always played well at home. You have to play great football to beat them on their field.
Well, the Argos have struggled at McMahon, and barring a miraculous comeback, the struggle will continue. It's a 21-point lead. Yes, the Stamps are indeed making a statement tonight at McMahon. Let's head back there now for the 4th quarter.
They do have a quarter to go, however. The Argonauts have the win, and on the first play of this final quarter, Vanderjack steps in for Toronto for his 3rd punt of the night. Terry Vaughn waits near the Stampeder 10. I don't get the feeling that it's impossible for the Argonauts to get right back in this and create a wonderful finish.
No way is this one over.
Vanderjack keeps it right away from Vaughn and nails it out of bounds somewhere around the 15. Flutie had 1 interception go 59 yards the other way for the touchdown last year. McMahon was not kind to Doug Flutie in an Argo uniform. This time it was number 17, Marvin Coleman.
Guess who won that football game for Calgary at quarterback? Dan Barrett.
Touchdown.
Wait a minute, who's that guy?
18.
Alan
back
Pitts.
in town this week, folks, if you missed it.
Yep.
Alan Pitts may be rejoining the Stampeders. That was Kelvin Anderson.
Danny Barrett throw that touchdown pass, and he is now quarterback coach for the Calgary Stampeders
and emergency quarterback.
Yes.
You never warn a guy for kicking.
Alan Pitts is staying at Danny Barrett's house while he gets himself checked out by the medical staff. Find out whether he is fit enough to rejoin the Stampeders after a severe hand injury in the offseason. Here's Garcia. Fired high. Too high for Travis Moore.
Number 83, Travis Moore is incomplete. Play by Marcelo Simmons, number 9 for the Argonauts.
Well, this is a quarter now that Doug Flutie not only will play on a shorter field because of the Calgary punt, but it's probably great field position for Toronto, but Flutie now has the wind at his back.
Tony Martino into a very stiff breeze now. And it'll be instant field position for the Argonauts. As the returners stand out right near the 55. Martino back just inside his 10. And that play whistled down. Martino sailed it anyway. You might as well as a practice kick, right? Into the breeze.
Oh, yeah, try it. See what the wind's doing.
See what the wind's doing to your football, sure.
Illegal procedure. Calgary 35.
See, on defense, when you're returning the kick, you can move around all you want, but Jason Clement cannot. He was up there on that right end, and as the Argos were moving around trying to get position, he jumps.
Martino moves it back inside the 5 now. The returners still hang around midfield. Kept it fairly low, not a bad kick at the 55. It's pinball, slashing his way through. What a return this is. Clemens ran into the official, still standing. He'll score! How about that? First punt return touchdown this season for the pinball. A 55-yarder, he took it right on the line. Got a block or almost a tackle from one of the officials down there. And the Argos climb back into the ballgame.
Did he look like a man on a mission on this return? It's a low kick, and those kicks are returnable, but at 12, Calgary Stampeder tacklers couldn't tackle him. The refs couldn't tackle him. No one was going to get Pinball Clemens as he goes into the end zone. And, well, talk about quick comebacks.
Wasn't that fun?
Hey.
He's been running well all night long, but this time he takes it all the way. A 55-yard touchdown. Here's a number for you. 57 of the 70 points scored in this evening of football have been scored with the win.
The road is on at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton once again. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the victims. It is third quarter action here when Danny McManus finds Robert Gordon in the end zone, making it 38-11. Looks like the Eskimos will improve to 6-1. Back to Calgary.
Here we go, the kickoff after Pinball's electrifying touchdown. Stampeders rolling into the wind. This is Coleman. He's had a couple of nice returns himself tonight. Followed his blockers well there, and he's out to about the 30-yard line. Norm Sola made the tackle. 25 yards on the return.
Marvin Coleman not only contributes on the return game as he does here. Every time he touches the ball, you feel like he can break it, but he's also had a pretty good game defensively for Calgary tonight. Coming in, he had led the team in tackles.
First and 10, Stampeders at the Calgary 28.
Stampeders with a lead by 2 touchdowns. Into the breeze. Garcia, nice play action fake. Target far side. He finds Danielson. Vince Danielson wrapped up by Ken Benson. Again, if you missed it earlier, Michael O'Shea ejected in the opening quarter for a hit out of bounds of the Calgary quarterback, Garcia.
What a great throw by Jeff Garcia. And you know, when I watch this one, I love this. This is when you're in your backyard, you're pretending you're the quarterback, you turn around, roll on the run, you got a little pressure in your face. I mean, that's just cool. That just looked real cool. I know I just dated myself with that word.
What do you play on your touch football team?
Oh, I'm the quarterback.
Yeah.
No. I play receiver, a little DB.
A little DB.
Little DB. The Sharks Back in Vancouver, a little plug for the touch team.
Second and short. And it looks like the Stampeders will convert easily. No markers down. How did you get the name the Sharks?
It's our sponsor.
Oh.
The Shark Club. And now, I'm their favorite customer.
Big grin on the Stampeder sidelines from Danny Barrett. This will be first down, Stampeders, not second and inches. Garcia wants to take a little time off the clock, move the football out. Even if he can't get to the end zone, it's Anderson making the catch over there. Get a few precious moments off this clock because the Argonauts have a good breeze at their backs. And they have Flutie at the controls. They can score 2 touchdowns in a heck of a hurry.
Real important drive with Garcia, up 14 points. The actual scoring points in this drive isn't all that important, but like you said, reestablishing field position and the time of possession and keeping number 2 standing right where he is right now.
2nd and 3. Calgary across the 45. Garcia to his left side. Oh, a tip right to Danielson. Now there you go. That is the break of the night. Heads up play, Vince Danielson.
It's amazing what good things can happen when you truly believe in yourselves. And you can see as this game has progressed, the Calgary Stampeders truly have started to believe in themselves. And yes, they get a bit of luck here. But when you start to believe, good things happen. And right now, Calgary believes they can play with anybody, including #1 team in the East.
Well, Travis Moore makes a pretty good move on the ball, almost made the catch, but it flips right to Vince Danielson. And that's 34 net yards for the Calgary Stampeders. Lucky to be good, good to be lucky. Works both ways, doesn't it? Sometimes, anyway. Fred Bailey is the injured Stampeder being attended to down there. 10:09 to go. Stampeders have a chance to add at least 3 more with a first down inside the Argonaut 30. Friday Night Football comes your way at 7 Eastern tomorrow night. Rough Riders and the Tiger Cats at Ivor Wynn.
I had mentioned that Kevin Mason was the starting quarterback for that game, but it will be Reggie Slack who's made the recovery from that knee injury.
Yeah, we'll keep that quarterbacking controversy steaming in Saskatchewan, won't we? After a huge break, the Danielson 34-yard reception, almost immaculate. It's first down Calgary, and Kelvin Anderson has another Calgary first down, or he's very close to it, Glenn.
That's what you love when you're trying to kill time on the clock, is to keep the football on the ground and have your running back move up the middle like Kelvin Anderson does on that play. Good job up front by the offensive line. And that's the key. You keep the clock going, keep the ball on the ground. It's safe. No chance for an interception.
Anderson had 80 yards on 12 carries last week. He comes up a yard shy of the first down. Ball on the 21. Calgary 42, Toronto 28. Pretty good drive into the wind. Stamps have covered 61 yards with a little good fortune thrown in. Garcia trying to take as much time off the clock as he can. The quarterback himself for a yard. Well, they're in field goal range. Definitely here, no matter how strong that wind is.
Well, without question, Wally Guano will now run the ball twice to Kelvin Anderson. Either up the middle, outside, doesn't really matter. Keep it in his hands. He's in field goal range, and Don Matthews knows that Garcia will use all the time in the clock per play. 20 seconds.
And even 9 minutes on the clock. Mark McLaughlin, a perfect night. Nice to see him back on track after a very shaky beginning to his season. Coming into tonight, 11 of his last 12 field goals have been good. 5 for 5 last week. And perfect again tonight. Thus far, Stampeders do have the first down after the measurement.
This is where the Toronto defense has been told, get down like this, you tackle the football. It's not good enough just to try and hit Anderson. You got to pull that ball out. We need a turnover.
Garcia looks to put it up. He has Vaughn slanting in. There's a marker down in the middle of the secondary. And Adrian Smith wrapped up Vaughn after he made the catch.
That play surprises me a little bit. I mean, that's a short hitch pass to Terry Vaughn. Real high percentage throw. But yet, Garcia's put the ball in the air.
Calgary 67.
That's the center, Jamie Drysdale.
And now not only that, but your offensive line has to pass block instead of just driving off and run blocking. So not only you have a chance of an interception or deflection, but like you see, Calgary gets nabbed on the holding because you're asking your guys up front to pass block.
Not often you have a 14-point lead in a ball game with 117 yards and penalties against you. Garcia for Anderson. Wrapped up by Andrew Stewart. That was second in a bunch after the holding call.
See Kelvin Anderson trying to pretend like he's blocking on Reggie Givens, lets him go and then turns around, lets his line come and pick up some blocks. Jamie Drysdale gets one block to spring him for a couple of yards.
Just 3. Second and 15. Garcia with time. Look to the end zone. Oh! Almost! Travis Moore had one hand on it and almost brought it home.
Travis Moore got a little bit turned around, but he stuck the one hand out and very nearly pulled it in.
Kelly Wiltshire back there in coverage.
It would have been a circus catch. Garcia wants to go down the outside. Moore got twisted a bit, but he finally straightens himself out.
Not as good from that angle, but watch the one hand from this one.
He only had one hand to use. Wiltshire was holding the other one. Can't get it in with his one hand.
No penalty for holding hands out there in the secondary, right?
No, you're allowed to hold hands.
Here's Mark McLaughlin. Dead center. 5 field goals for McLaughlin, another 5 for 5 nights. The Argos have to score 3 times to tie this. Alondra Johnson's had a nice night. He knew the importance of this game from these words yesterday. This game is huge. It will set the tone for our season. And to paraphrase a bit, put us right where we want to be.
And he has been a stabilizing factor for this Calgary defense. Back in the middle.
Flutie has some ground to make up with 7:08 on the clock. McClanahan chasing him. Have to slow him down. In time for Steve Anderson to get in there and make the tackle. Flutie has had some great moments in this ballpark, but not in this particular uniform.
Well, when Doug Flutie gets behind, he'll try and take things into his own hands. Doesn't see anyone wide open, wants to go a little further down the field. But Steve Anderson, who has tremendous quickness for a big man, keeps working hard, chases him down.
Second down. Tipped. Marvin Pope, I do believe. Number 91.
Well, Marvin Pope played that one like Saskatchewan and Hamilton defensive ends have played against the Argos. He just stands up, doesn't get a whole lot of pressure downfield. He's right here at the end of the line. He's going to go down the field, just kind of stand up there with, get his hands up, his left hand up in the air and knock that ball down. And Jeremy O'Day was trying to hold him off. Doesn't get up the field very far, but he doesn't give a lane for Flutie to throw the football.
At least 3 tip passes by the Stampeders. Vaughn lets it bounce into his hands and content to hang on to the football, wrapped up by Johnny Harris. Whoa! This is a little silly down there. Eric Johnson in the middle of things.
Eric Johnson got up with Marvin Coleman, and the gloves were on the ice.
They dropped the gloves.
They were swinging them.
Leafs Flames at McMahon tonight.
Now, Ty
You gotta be silly to swing at a guy wearing a helmet and a face mask, don't you?
Ty Domi is a buddy of Don Matthews and kicked the field goal in the exhibition game, and I think he's given some lessons to some of these guys, because that looked like...
This does look an awful lot like a hockey scrum after the fight, doesn't it, as they pull the combatants apart?
Looks like a Ty Domi fight there.
Want to see it again?
Well,
I do.
I'd love to.
We'll show you at least how it started.
Well, here's the fists are flying. Couple overhead rights. I think Coleman came with an undercut.
Rough play disqualification. Calgary 17. Objectionable conduct. Calgary 2.
There they go. One to each dressing room. Coleman and Johnson. An early shower.
Well, let's take one more look. I mean, the tackle on the sideline, okay, nothing happened here, but just to the right of your screen, here it goes. Looking here, drop the gloves, the hand to the face, back comes, and then the right. Bang, right hand, left hand, right hand there to the
You're
chin.
good. You're really good at
this.
this.
I love that.
No biting of the ear, however.
Wow.
So it was a clean fight.
It was a clean fight, but both are disqualified because wrong sport.
Split decision, though.
Yeah.
A draw, I guess, really. Interesting. When you look at those numbers in the fourth quarter, Toronto has had the breeze and haven't been able to put any points up, with the exception of the great return by pinball. 6:08 to play. Couple of disqualifications moments ago. Earlier, way back in the first quarter, Michael O'Shea was tossed out of the game. Jeff Garcia's had a wonderful night for the Stampeders. Couldn't get away there. Wrapped up by Noah Cantor.
Well, Jeff Garcia will definitely not force anything down here. Even if he doesn't get the first down, I'm sure Wally Buono will send in the punting unit and give up the safety. Get a whole bunch of field position back, because 2 points really won't make that much of a difference.
It's 45-28. Robert Drummond shaken up a couple of times tonight. They are working on his elbow over there on the Argonaut bench. I think that injury might have happened quite some time ago. Garcia rolling. He's picked out. Exactly what you didn't want him to do. Johnny Harris. Weren't you saying that was the last thing he should be doing?
Yeah.
And he did it.
Well, I mean,
sometimes they just don't listen.
There's 5:20 left. You know, Jeff Garcia, who's been making great decisions all game, makes a bad one here because he really doesn't need to force anything in here. Johnny Harris, who comes across and makes a nice diving catch on the interception. But Jeff Garcia knows that that was a ball he shouldn't have thrown, because now the Argos have a chance for a quick strike.
17-point ball game as it stands right now. The Argos have to score 3 times to tie. Toronto finally gets a turnover. Here's Flutie wrapped up from behind. Steve Anderson really had a difficult time hanging on to the snap.
Well, Steve Anderson uses his great quickness. He's right down here and uses his quickness to get involved in this play. Mike Kiselak pulls. Steve Anderson makes a move, cuts under the block from Michael Saunders, and uses that speed to run down Flutie.
No gain. 2nd and 10. Argos at the Stampeders 17 after the turnover. Flutie has the pinball, made the catch, can't get to the first down. Darryl Hall. And Will Hampton getting the pinball there.
No question, 3-down football now for Doug Flutie. He's trying to get the team organized and lined up to get another play called before too much time comes off the clock, but no question he's got to gamble and go on 3rd down now.
3rd down, 3 yards to go. A bit of a gamble here for the Argos. They're down by 17 at the Stampeder 10. Flutie will put it up. No one's open. Almost a great catch on the sideline. Not quite. Stampeder defense hold. Wasn't the right play to have called, I don't think.
Well,
obviously it wasn't. It didn't work.
If Doug Flutie is looking to Michael Saunders, he has a touchdown right now. Saunders will go to the inside. John Kalin has to slide over and pick him up. He's open initially, but Doug Flutie doesn't see him. He was the only receiver downfield that was open, and then he just had the desperation throw it down there. Now Mazzotti late in the play also breaks open in the back of the end zone. Now Flutie's rolling the opposite way there, so that's a bit of a long throw for him, but couldn't find the open guys.
3:31 to go. Stampeders get their mitts on the football once more with a 45-28 lead. Kelvin Anderson. Kelly Wilshire made the tackle. Now I wonder, I guess this is second guessing and hindsight is 20/20, but you might have taken the field goal and then just needed 2 touchdowns. You know you got to score 3 times. Field goal, 2 touchdowns, you're even, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to get the 3 possessions, no question, but you got to feel when you get the ball that close that you got to go after it and try and score the major.
Into the final 3 minutes. And there's the timeout. Actually, not a timeout, a penalty for delay of game against Garcia.
Time violation. Calgary 7.
Well, I mean, to Wally Buono, it's no big deal. I mean, they can go back to the 2-yard line. They're going to give up a safety anyway. They're definitely not going to throw the ball again.
It is the 3-minute warning. Quite a ball game. Bit surprising as you look at the score, perhaps. Stampeders all over the Argonauts. Coming your way tomorrow night, being Friday night, Saskatchewan and Hamilton. Join the boys for that. Saturday, Montreal at BC.
And that guy, Bobby Jerson, might have something to say about you think Toronto has the best defense in the league. Or did you throw in arguably?
I think I said arguably.
Okay. Well, I'm sure he'll find you.
We sort of got sidetracked a little bit there. Toronto doesn't have the best defense in the league when Michael O'Shea is not in the middle of things. And that's a fact.
Pretty good defense in Edmonton as well.
I think we mentioned everybody. Well,
yeah.
Hamilton's defense
They're
is
not
coming
bad.
on. Who have we missed? Well, Winnipeg's defense.
They're not bad. They're struggling right now, but they're not bad.
Well, they're not good either, Glenn, at this point of things. Working things out in Winnipeg. Under Jeff Reinbold. 2:44 to go on this one. Looks like an offside call.
Toronto 92. The yards are declined. We will start the clock.
Stampeders just want to get rid of some time on the clock.
Yeah.
(45-28). Calgary leading Toronto. Stamps trying to make it 2 wins in a row. And another discussion down there. Argonauts' next game is a big one. Home to the Eskimos next Thursday night. A Grey Cup rematch.
That will be a good game.
25,000 on hand at McMahon. Pretty good crowd here, and they've enjoyed this one.
Well, they've been
Lots
fired
to
up.
cheer about.
This building's been bouncing.
Well, it was interesting all evening long. Stampeders scored early. The Argonauts countered and took the lead. Lead changed hands 4 times in the first half. Stampeders scored with the wind in the second and the third.
Yeah, 3 interceptions by Doug Flutie, and also some really good sustained drives from Jeff Garcia at key situations to get momentum back.
This is 2nd and 15, and Garcia trying to take a little time off the clock here. Hangs onto the football on the far side. Demetrius Maxey over to make the tackle. 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go.
I'm not sure why Jeff Garcia needed to take a hit there.
No.
You know, well, turn around and hand it to Kelvin Anderson rather than him roll out in the end zone and take a hit. One he doesn't have to take. Wally Buono's probably going to give up the safety here anyway. And Garcia got up looking at his passing hand.
Garcia's shaken up in the opening quarter on a late hit by Michael O'Shea. O'Shea was tossed from the game after Garcia collided with the Stampeder player bench. Now, the pinball has an opportunity to make someone a millionaire here.
Oh,
if he takes this all the way for the touchdown, a lovely lady by the name of Violet Addison will win $1 million. He already has 1 punt return touchdown, and sorry, Violet, Mike Saunders caught the ball. How unfair is that?
Psych.
Too bad.
So now tell me this again.
$1 million.
Mike Clements gets another touchdown on a punt return.
On a punt return. Has to be on a punt return. And it's a contest by
and Violet makes
Safeway stores.
Safeway gives Violet
by Safeway.
Wow.
It would have been worth $1 million.
Well, he was hustling over there to get it, but
I think he wanted to get it for Violet, really. And we were pulling for him.
Now, would he know that?
I don't think so. Has to be 2 punt return touchdowns in the same game by the same player.
Because if he did know it, he'd want to cut, I'm sure.
Here's Flutie down by a bunch. Sees it open up the middle. Now has Masati. Or rather Drummond. Drummond gets to the outside. Chased up by Raymond Biggs.
Well, he had the bad elbow, and they were working on that elbow on the sideline with ice packs, but he strapped an aspirin to it and got back in the football game. It's a tough one.
It'll be enough for the first down. Stampeders will give up a few first downs gladly.
Now he's wearing that elbow pad.
17 yards with 1:53 on the clock. Calgary 45, Toronto 28. Argos have to score 3 times. That could have been 1, but Mitchell is stopped at about the 3. John Kalin wrapped him up. Kalin's looked pretty good in that safety spot tonight as a starter.
Well, he's looked good because we haven't really talked about him much, and that if you aren't talked about on TV at the safety position, it means you're doing the right thing. He comes up and puts a pretty good hit right there on Daryl Mitchell.
See, back in your Regina days, I always talked about you because I thought you were such a nice guy.
Oh, he was making mistakes.
Flutie for the touchdown. No catch. One hopped it to Robert Drummond.
Guess who got involved in the play? Heard us talking about him, and John Kalin comes over and gets involved.
1:34, and there was an open receiver in the Calgary end zone.
Mike Saunders, 32 to the right of your screen right there. Watch how he sneaks in behind the coverage. Kalin's looking up Drummond, so he lets him sneak behind. And that's twice now that Michael Saunders has been open and Flutie has not seen him.
Second down, Argos. Goal to go at the 3. Flutie stumbling. He has the touchdown. A connection with Mike Pinball Clemens. So the Argos inch a little closer, but they may be out of time. 1:30 to go.
They're going to go for 1, then it'll be onside kick team. Calgary Stampeders will put on what they call their hands team, and Clemens, who's had a good game returning, had that punt return for a touchdown, comes up with a little turnaround move to pick up the touchdown right there. It always amazes me how Flutie can get that ball through there. A little sidearm under someone's armpit, I think, that one.
Vanderjack adds 1 more. The Argos are within 10. 45-35. Things are possible. But as mentioned prior to that touchdown, they had to score 3 times. Now they need a touchdown and a field goal to tie Calgary.
So here's what happens now. Onside kick team means that Toronto's going to put most of their tall receiver-type players or defensive back-type guys to one side of the field. Now, Mike Vanderjagt will go in there, try and kick a high looping ball one side where all the crowd is. Calgary on the other side will try and put their hands team on, and whoever touches it last when it goes out of bounds.
There we go. Here's our broadcast location. You can say hi to anybody you want.
What a game.
Well, I'm going to leave the football beat for a couple of weeks.
Where are you going?
I'm off to my home province, back to Manitoba. And 2.5 weeks, or about 2 weeks in Brandon for the Canada Summer Games. Opening ceremonies are on Saturday. So you're going to have to get along without me, partner.
Well, I'm going to miss you. Say hi to everyone that I know that you know in Brandon.
Okay. And we'll follow all the BC athletes for you. If you're in Winnipeg, anywhere in the neighborhood, drop by.
Sounds like a deal.
Onside kick. The Argos are trying it here. And the Stampeders come up with it.
Well,
Danielson. It ended up right in his arm.
When you put on your hands team, who better than to put on the guy with one of the best hands on the team, Vince Danielson. He comes up with the catch.
Mike Pinball Clemens has scored 3 touchdowns for the Argos tonight, and this in a losing cause. 2-yard reception from Doug Flutie on the final Argonaut touchdown thus far, and it looks like it will be the final touchdown of the night if Garcia can take some time off the clock here. Well, Kelvin Anderson wrapped up in a hurry with 1:25 to go.
Jeff Garcia looks like he's looking to the sideline. He sort of motioned before he got over there to, like he wanted to throw it. He's an aggressive guy, but you're up by 10 with 1:20 left. Keep it on the ground, punt the football away, make the Argos drive the whole distance of the football field.
Loss of a couple, 2nd and 12 Calgary. Look at that time of possession. The Argos haven't been able to get it done with a win. Here's Garcia. Little quarterback draw. Both quarterbacks tried it. Flutie a little more effectively because Garcia's a little short.
Now the $1 million comes into play again.
Whoa.
Hey, Mike Clemens goes back there. Tony Martino comes out on the field now. If he catches one, takes it the distance, not only do we have a finish.
Violet Addison will win $1 million.
Now
we're on TV in Calgary. The blackout is lifted at this stage of things. So Violet, here's what is going to happen in case you don't know. Let me explain this. Mike Clemens has taken one back, a punt return for 59 yards. If he takes this Tony Martino punt all the way for a touchdown, you're going to win $1 million. On top of that, Glenn Suter and I are going to come over and take you out for lunch the next time we're in Calgary. So good luck, Violet.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Oh, no, there's a penalty. The pinball all the way back to the 5. Violet, this is a long shot. It ended right there.
Well, now wait, if the penalty...
If they force them to kick it again, don't turn off that set, Violet. Hang with us here. It has been a very entertaining football evening here at McMahon Stadium.
Offside, Toronto 35.
Well, that means Calgary can put the offense back on the field, and
34 seconds on the clock. It is still 3rd down and 5. Showing there.
Calgary players are pumping up the fans.
Nice night, Eddie. Oh, boy, you know, we talked about Willie Hampton. He had some problems with Pinball Clemens, missed a couple of tackles early. And then he turns in the most memorable night of his career.
Yeah, do you think it bothers catches him now?
No.
If it does, he's hiding it well.
Get it up! That was all part of the setup.
You two bad big ball, y'all in first. Stay up to the shots out.
Tough run. He moved the football team extremely well at times. But in the fourth quarter, he was too far behind, even with the win. It is enough for a first down. And enough time now left on the clock that Garcia can just finish off these Argonauts and hand Don Matthews his second loss of 1997.
And this really was another Jeff Garcia game. I mean, last week I watched him play against Winnipeg and looked like the Jeff Garcia of old, and he comes in here and against the Argos and their #1 defense against the pass and puts together a pretty good game plan and great execution. Sustained some drives after Argo touchdowns, came back and responded, and really was the key to victory for the Calgary Stampeders tonight.
Jeff Garcia, one of the rushing leaders here, 57 yards on 10 carries. Flutie, the passing leader, 245, but there were interceptions involved. One all the way for a touchdown. Nice gesture by the fans of the Calgary Stampeders. Standing ovation for a team that has battled back a long way from a real tough start this season. 0-3 the Stampeders started. Now they've won a couple in a row, and they stand at 3-4.
Now the problems for Doug Flutie and the Argos here in McMahon Stadium continue.
Still hasn't won
since 1988.
As far as Flutie is concerned individually, as a Toronto Argonaut. In the ballpark, he made victories seem like second nature as a member of the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, there's 2 games left this week in the Canadian Football League. Of course, we have both, but Jeff Garcia's got to be a front runner for Offensive Player of the Week already. He had a great game.
On the other side of things, Paul Masadi had a big night and moved into second place on the Argos all-time list in career passing yards. As far as career passing yards are concerned, slipped past Terry Greer, but he's got a ways to go to catch up to D.K. Schmidt. Here's your hero, folks, player of the game. Calgary Stampeder quarterback Jeff Garcia for a 10-point win over the Argonauts. Time now for the TSN Turning Point.
It's in the third quarter. Doug Flutie waits a little bit too long to throw a wide side field out. And William Hampton, right here at the top of your screen, sees it coming all the way, picks it off, and then see ya. That's
59 yards.
That's Pixies and a dance. He's in the end zone.
Destination will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN. Just one of the big plays and a fun night of football at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The Stampeders are right back in the hunt after a 10-point win over Toronto.
I'll ask him 2 questions.
Welcome back to CFL Live. It's over in Calgary, and the Stampeders got the job done, and they said they would. They beat the Toronto Argonauts, who lost for just the second time this season. Final score 45-35. And joining us now, the guy who said we're going to kick some butt tonight, Anthony McClanahan, part of that Calgary group that was a little ticked off by the strut of the Toronto Argonauts. And Anthony, just tell me, in light of your prediction, how sweet was this victory tonight?
Hey, it was sweeter than sweet. We talked the talk, we walked the walk, and they going back to the circus.
Anthony, it's Marty York here. I've got to ask you about that practice yesterday when the Argos walked in on you. You came out and said some things about that. Did that psych you guys up?
You know, that definitely psyched us up. Man, they shouldn't be doing that stuff, man. You know, stay in their room, stay in their locker room until we get done. You know, we wouldn't do that to them, but you know what? That just goes to show you that, you know, once a circus, always a circus. They going back to it, you know?
Anthony, it's Les Brown. You commented about a powder puff offense.
that the Toronto Argonauts had. Explain to us what you mean. You mean that they're weak because they dump the ball off? That's all they do? We don't understand this powder puff. Explain it to us.
Exactly. You know, they have like a one-dimensional offense. You know, when I was a junior and a senior in high school, you know, I had to coach those girls, and it was hard coaching them, man, because they wanted to do the same thing over and over, and it just got boring. You know, Doug Flutie is boring. Toronto Argonauts are boring. And you know what? We came out today. Hey, we play them again. They'll still be the same boring team that we've seen today and that we will continue to see throughout the year.
What's the question mark on the face for?
They're questionable. Period.
Hey, Anthony, it's Bob Obilovich here.
How you doing?
I wanted to ask you something, and I could be wrong now, but at the beginning of the season, I didn't see you making the plays that you have been in the last 3 ball games, and I think the tempo that you've picked up to play on defense, it's showing with the play of your overall defense now.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, I had some things haunting me, and I was trying to, you know, just get those things out of the way. And, you know, I wanted to go back to being my normal self, but I had to wait. So, you know, no more waiting. Here I am. It's Christmas.
You mean you had to wait to get your hair all painted and put all those question marks on and everything? Is that what it was?
The criminal justice system is very, very, should I say, you just make sure that you can, maintain everything that you're doing on the field and off the field. And that's what I was doing, just showing them respect and letting them know that, I'm a good person off the field, but when we're on the field, I'm not a good person, period.
Hey, you're a heck of a player to watch. I enjoy your aggressiveness.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Anthony, you also tell it like it is. So tell it like it is about Doug Flutie. How do the Calgary Stampeders feel about Doug Flutie?
How do we feel?
Yeah.
Like I said, he's going back to the circus. They need to put him back in that cage and feed him some oats and some hops or something. He's horrible.
Whoa.
Anthony, you got to play them again in Toronto. Don't get too cocky.
Hey, I'm going to Toronto. You see my hair, it's going to be different when we go there.
What colors are going to be?
Double
To
blue.
be continued.
Anthony, just before we leave you, can you give us a better look? Maybe just show us the top of your head there, and I'll show you mine. Here we go. Slight difference there, isn't there?
Hey,
anyway, they've been waiting in Calgary for your flamboyance. They certainly got that, and a pretty flamboyant team. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Anthony McClanahan, thank you. Joining us from McMahon Stadium. And, yeah, Anthony McClanahan and everybody else, especially defensively, Les, in that third quarter, really did lead the way when they shut out Toronto 19-0.
They impressed me at the beginning when they were coming out making huge plays on the dump-off passes that Toronto does. There's little 5-yard passes, and they depend on their receivers and Drummond and Mike to make moves and pick up 10, but that wasn't happening tonight, and they were very impressive.
I want to tell you something about Doug Flutie as a starter at McMahon Stadium. When he was with Calgary, he was 30-1. And as a starter, as an opponent in Calgary, he's 1-4. I don't know. That makes no sense to me.
It's hard to play in McMahon Stadium.
Now, I know that Jeff Garcia hates this discussion of matchups against Doug Flutie. Just for the record, 2-1 now after splitting games last year. Jeff Garcia joining us from McMahon as well. Jeff, congratulations. I know you got tired of all the Flutie comparison questions in '95 and even last year. However, do you get a little bit more motivated going against your former teammate?
Well, I think it's a big game, and when you play the top team in the league, you want to be pumped up, ready to play, and it's not hard to get motivated for the games like this. It doesn't matter whether it's Doug Flutie or Danny McManus up at Edmonton. They're big games, and so if you can't get motivated, something's wrong.
Yeah, really.
Hey, Jeff, it's Bob Obilovich here.
Hi, Bob.
How are you?
Good.
Listen, I wanted to ask you a question. In the second half of the Montreal game, I think that's when I saw you start stepping up into the pocket and looking to throw or run the ball. Like, I think prior to that time, it looked to me like you were a little bit more indecisive. And now with your ability to make plays on the run, whether you're throwing on the run or stepping up in the pocket and making something happen, it seems like your offense is really starting to click now.
I think you're right. I think there was some indecision prior to that Montreal game, or prior to the second half of the Montreal game. We had some new guys at the receiver position. We had a new offensive coordinator. Things were kind of in limbo. We just weren't clicking, and I think it was making me indecisive. And, that second half of the Montreal game said a lot for what we could do offensively. And it was just a matter of trying to make smarter decisions, allowing my offensive line to work for me, and just make plays, step up in the pocket, and take what the defense gives me. And I think we've been doing that well the last few weeks. We've been chipping away at defenses, and we haven't been making big mistakes. And that's the key to winning games.
Jeff, this is Les Brown.
Hey, Les.
You guys have been close in so many games this year. How important was it for you guys to come out and put an exclamation point on this game to let people know that you're back?
Oh, it was very important. I think we tried to do that last week with the Winnipeg game. But, you know, playing Toronto is a whole different game. I mean, here's one of the top teams in the league, and to come out at McMahon Stadium and play like we did tonight, you know, we wanted to show that we're one of the top teams also, despite our record. And we struggled in some losses, and, you know, we were so close at times. It was just a matter of turning it around, staying confident, staying together, and we've done that, and now we're starting to roll a little bit.
Hi, Jeff. It's Marty York.
Hey, Marty.
Can you talk a little bit about Danielson, and also how eager are you to see Pitts come back?
Well, I think Danielson has done a great job for us. He's stepped in for Sapunjas, and he's done a great job of learning the system, learning his position. He's been a guy who's been hungry for the football. In the past couple years, he's been at the 5th receiver slot, so he's not as much of an emphasis on the field, but now he's stepping in, making plays, and doing a great job. Having Pitts back will be a great situation for us. I think it's going to just kind of complete our receiving core. I think they've done a great job prior to Pitts' comeback. I think the guys have stuck together. They've worked hard, and, you know, they don't get as much respect as maybe some other guys in the league, but, hey, they're the best group in the league.
Well, Jeff, I'm sure you could use Alan Pitts back, but the way your offense performed, and you as well, against a team that had been #1 in the CFL, it hardly looked like you did. Congratulations, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Jeff Garcia, quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders, very victorious tonight, emphatically, as he said. 45-35 the final, so the Stamps improved to 3-4. And Garcia, one of the guys leading the way as they got it done tonight in Calgary. CFL Live returns right after this. Be sure you stay tuned after CFL Live for another edition of Sports Desk. Big night for Darren Flutie. We're going to talk about that in a second. Roger Clemens, 17th win, and a trade for the Vancouver Grizzlies in the NBA. All that's still to come on Sports Desk. Well, speaking of Darren Flutie, yes, it was a huge night for him as the Edmonton Eskimos hosted the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in what you would have expected to be a dominant night for Edmonton. As it turned out, it was, but it certainly did not start that way. At Commonwealth Stadium, and here we go. It was the Bombers taking the early initiative. Right here, Kevin McDougall, 69 yards to Milt Stegall, touchdown Winnipeg, and a 7-0 lead. After a field goal, they'd be up by 10, and then cue Danny Mac and the comeback. McManus leads them down the field, finds his fave, Darren Flutie, touchdown Eskimos. At that point, it was 11-9, so what the heck? They go for 2, and he finds Darren Flutie again for the 2 points. It's all tied up at 11 apiece. Later on, in the half, Danny McManus for another target. Not his favorite, but Henry Gizmo Williams can play receiver as well. A nice catch there, and it's 21-11 at the half. The Eskimos in control, and they would take total control as the Giz and his friends do a little bit of celebrating. That poor old goalpost. Well, Gizmo, after a 70-yard punt return, the great work that he has done, already the leading returner in CFL history, adding to his totals right there and setting up, as you can see, more points for the green and gold right here. Danny Mac. Guess who he's going to find this time? Why not? Darren Flutie. Touchdown. Eskimos with the convert. 27-11. McManus, this time in the 4th quarter, looking and finding Robert Gordon near the back of the end zone. Total domination for the Edmonton Eskimos as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers go down to defeat 45-11. Winnipeg falling to 1-6. Edmonton improving to 6-1. The Eskimos have won 4 straight games. And Darren Flutie, the numbers here, it ties a team record, George McGowan's record, 15 receptions, 231 yards, and those 2 touchdowns less. Big night for Darren Flutie.
Well, you know, Darren had a big night, but when he has a big night, the quarterback also has to have a big night. And Danny McManus had one heck of a night. He was 33 of 46 for 477 yards, 4 touchdown passes, and no interceptions, Marty.
Not bad.
None.
Not bad. So you won't be able to knock him at all tonight.
Player of the week?
I don't know. Garcia had a good game, too. Yeah. Interesting, though, that one of the Fluties had the big night. And if that 2-point convert catch counted, he would have, tied the record, right?
You know, an interesting thing about that record, Terry Greer set that record back in 1983.
And this I should clarify the record. I didn't mention that. The record for receptions in a single game in CFL history is 16. Flutie was one shy of that. And you were saying about Terry Greer.
That's what I was trying to say, Rod.
No. You assume people out there already knew.
You're supposed to sit there, eh?
But if my memory serves me correctly, and I think that game was against Ottawa, and Terry actually caught 3 other balls in that game that were called back because of penalties. And then, of course, that year later on, he went over 2,000 yards against Winnipeg in 16 games, and that was a heck of a record that stood for a long time.
Coach has been doing some reminiscing tonight, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, memory lane.
But I tell you what, he was one shy, and they kneeled down the last few plays of the game, and they could have just easily thrown it to him and made him break that record.
But they probably didn't
break that record.
No, I think Terry Greer called Ron Lancaster and said, don't do it. Don't do it, Coach.
Hey, gentlemen, we would be remiss if we didn't mention Thursday night's matchup. The Eskimos at 6-1 are coming into Toronto at 5-2. The game will be right here on TSN. That's going to be an interesting game. I'd be surprised if there weren't, what, at least 22,000 at that game at the Sky Dome. Nah, there's got to be some people there at that game, I would think.
Let's get 30,000 out. Let's fill that whole lower part of the stadium.
Well, let's not be silly.
This is a heck of a game.
Yeah, but I don't think that the Argos will draw 30,000 anymore. But they should get 22,000 anyway.
So you got Edmonton at 6-1. You got the Argos at 5-2. You get Calgary up at 3-4 now. Hamilton and Edmonton. Should Hamilton lose to Saskatchewan and fall to 1-6? So we're looking at a situation here where you've got an Elite Six, maybe, and then 2 teams just falling off the pace.
Well, there's such good personnel in the league now. You know, you look at all the defenses. They were talking about it tonight on the broadcast. Glenn and John Wells were talking about, you know, everybody's got good defense. It's true, everybody's got good personnel. So the dispersal draft has really upgraded the overall caliber of the athletes, and by changing the ratio, it's made things better for the league as far as overall talent. So there's some great players playing out there right now.
And a lot of them playing for the Edmonton Eskimos. Boy, another tough night for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They fall to 1-6, and the tough season for Jeff Reinbold just getting a little bit tougher now. In Calgary, it was the Stampeders, now up to 3-4 after they beat the Argos. We'll be back after this.
The CFL Live on TSN is brought to you by Advantage, providing solutions for business. And by Gatorade. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
Hey, tomorrow is Friday. You know what that means. Our next game is
Friday.
Yes, Friday Night Football. Thank you, Les Saskatchewan Roughriders.
That was Bob.
Tiger Cats. It was Bob. From Iverwin Stadium. And, of course, Sports Desk, not next. It is 2 p.m. It's Eastern Time, 11 Pacific. Of course, 1 hour's time and get all the news. The news here is Calgary won again. Beat the Toronto Argonauts by 10. We're out of time. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow night.